But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? This is the show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are? Well, we do it on Monday through Thursday. Let's say that first. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. And what are those things we're not allowed to talk about? You already know. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. This show is live. This show's always been live. This show will always be live, aside from, maybe a here or there type of video we upload on YouTube or something or other. But live is the way to go because we have you. I always say that I don't have any inside sources, but I think that's not true anymore. I think that we have enough people finally listening to this show that contribute day in and day out. Every single week we talk about strange things, odd things, bizarre things that happen in this world, and it turns out you can crowdsource an inside source, if you know what I'm talking about. So we have you guys, and that's really what this is all about. If we can get together and talk about these things without the media getting in between and filtering it and changing narratives or leaving out key details, well, that's what this is really all about. Talking about these things, thinking about these things, and sharing information as we do this, as we go through and have these discussions about whatever they happen to be. And that's what this has always been about. And like I said, I'm feeling good that we have such a great group of people out there listening to what's happening with the show and with the world around us, because I think that's the interesting thing about this is there's a whole lot of just strange things that are always happening around the world that nobody is ever talking about, right? Nobody ever talks about these things. And, you got to kind of root out the fringe, right? If you catch my meaning. Speaking of fringe, we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, DLive, and Periscope. And that's the whole point. That's what I was saying here, is that part of being live and doing this is because we can get together and talk. And really just kind of cut out the media as a filter, and that's what this is about. So if you want to be part of the show after that long ramble, point being is we're taking your phone calls tonight. At any point, you can dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also go to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link, and you'll be able to come join us on Discord. We got somebody just jumped in the Discord right now. What's up, Jay Winch? I see you there. How you doing? Thanks for hopping in and saying hi in the Discord. We got another Discord running. So Discord is a chat client. It's a voice client. You can live stream on there. You can share your screen. You don't have to do any of those things. You can just use it as like a chat thing and say hi and type. But you can use it for all that other stuff. It's an amazing program, and it's free. Most importantly, it's free. If you want to be part of the show, you can use our Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. And also, we've got another one running with the Fringe FM. Go to fringe.fm/chat, and it will give you a direct invite to the Discord there. I'm watching them all. I'm watching everything. I'm watching both Discords. I'm watching all the chat and all the places we're streaming on, and trying to do it all. It's sometimes it's not as easy as it looks. As they say, right? It's not as easy as it looks on TV. You see what I'm talking about? But we try and do it, right. It's worth all the extra effort to kind of get it out there so people can watch on all these platforms and contribute in real time with the chat and the rest of this stuff. So okay, that's what's going on. That's basically the breakdown of what this show is and how we operate. And like I said, we're crowdsourcing inside sources, and that means you. So that's our secret weapon. But okay, so as I say this, what we're talking about today, the topic at hand, it's been kind of hot and heavy. We've been calling this, what's up, Night Stalker? Shout out to you, buddy. We've been calling this the summer of saucers, right? Because it's just all the UFO news is super heavy because of the UFO unclassified report that was released at the end of July, at the end of June. I'm sorry. We're let's see, it's already skipping months. I'm time traveling in my brain here, but at the end of June they released the UFO report. Okay, and so this show is not. I mean, this is not a UFO show. I mean, it is partially, but it's not. If you go back and look at our archives, we don't constantly talk about UFOs. It's one of those things where we really talk about a huge number of things, including the news and current events and all the rest of this. So it just seems like recently we've turned into a UFO show. So I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea, because we're not. We are, but we're not, right? It's not like you should expect to tune in on any given day and hear about UFOs. So as a result of that, I think we need a palate cleanser. I think we need a little bit of a different topic that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting to think about, and maybe, depending on where you live in the world, maybe a little more compelling. Maybe you've seen some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, which, of course, well, without further ado, how about Bigfoot? How about Bigfoot? We haven't done a Bigfoot show since my very first show on the Fringe FM, and that's way back in January. We had WGA Sheehan on the show, and I was a little nervous and fast talking, and because new software, new commercial breaks and all kinds of stuff. I wasn't, until you're comfortable with it, you're just not comfortable with it. So day one we had a guest, which was even more daunting, because then I'm trying to be gracious to the guest and not be a knucklehead and say something really stupid. But anyway, point being is we haven't talked about Bigfoot since all the way back in January. So I think we're due, don't you? Time to have a little bit of fun tonight and consider all the things that may be Bigfoot, right? Maybe that. So what we're looking for tonight, the question is this, right? Clearly, the basic question is this regarding a conversation that starts with Bigfoot, okay? Do you believe it's real? Do you believe the skunk ape or the Yeti or good old-fashioned Sasquatch? Do you believe these things are a legitimate thing? They call it cryptozoology because there's no actual evidence, they say, of these particular beasts or whatever you want to call these things. But there's a lot of theories about why we haven't actually had a body to dissect or things like this, right? We'll kind of get into some of those theories, and I'd love to hear yours tonight. So that's the major question, right? So number one, is Bigfoot real? Do you believe in any of the variations, whether that's going to be, again, the Florida skunk ape, that's going to be Sasquatch, that's going to be the Yeti? There are variations all over the world of these different Bigfoot sightings that go back centuries, maybe even thousands of years, if you believe what's kind of scrawled on the some of the Neolithic cave drawings, right? This type of stuff. So really, that's what's on deck. That's what's on my mind tonight. And the reason I bring it up, it's not out of the blue. This isn't just like, Michael Strange gets the wild hair sort of situation. And like, I know, wake up in the morning, we're going to talk about Bigfoot tonight. No, well, because Bigfoot's back in the news. That's why. And interestingly enough, we've been kind of in that situation with the lockdowns and people not really doing a lot of going outside and this type of thing. And so now in many places, well, now I don't want to bring up the bad news because many places they're going to restart this whole lockdown process, it seems. But for right now, people are like out in national parks again. People are outside. People are life is resembling more of a normal thing at this point, okay? And if you're listening to this on an archive years from now and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I hope you have no idea what I'm talking about. But not in the 88th wave of lockdowns 3 years from now. But that's what's going on. People are outside and it's starting to seem like normal life again. But as people get outside and they start looking around and breathing the fresh air and hiking in the woods and things like this, guess what begins to happen again? Guess what begins to happen? Yep, that's right. You guessed it. People start seeing Bigfoot again. There are Bigfoot sightings going on, and it's in the news. So I'll pull up a news article and we'll talk about that. But as we go, like I said, looking to hear from you tonight. If you believe in Bigfoot, do you believe this is a real thing, or do you believe that it's some sort of folklore mythology that, maybe this mass hallucination type thing where people hear something and, they believe it because they were told a story, right? I mean, as always, I'm open to all of the hypotheses here. And not only that, there's some weird ones. With, in particular, do you think maybe Bigfoot might be like a dimensional type creature? And that's why we can't kind of track him down or, things like this. Or there's actually been, in particular, in the last 20 years, some bizarre situations where Bigfoot is sighted in a sort of in a tandem the thing with UFOs in the sky as well. So we can, if you're missing the UFOs from yesterday or the day before that, well, we can sprinkle in some of that if you want to talk about it. But in any case, that's the question tonight. Do you believe Bigfoot is real? And if so, why do you think we have not actually found a specimen yet? Why are they able to elude us if they're real? And, anyway, that's what's on deck tonight, and that's what we're going to talk about. Before we get to this news story, I'm going to put up the phone number one more time, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. And how about this? As part of the question tonight, clearly it's really like a, sort of a binary type question. Do you believe Bigfoot's real, yes or no, right? Kind of a multiple choice, hit the box number 1 or box number 2. That's no fun. But how about this then? Have you ever, we'll add these into the equation tonight. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot or thought maybe you had a sighting or a family member that's seen something like this? Or if not, how about what do you think is the most compelling Bigfoot video you have ever seen? And there's lots out there. There's quite a few compelling ones, and there's quite a few fakes as well. So that's what's on deck. That's what we're talking about. 702-957-1037. Let's look at this news article. So it begins here. This is from WITL, and this is .com. WITL.com. I'm going to link it in the. What are you guys talking about in the chat? What is going on in the chat over there? You are a Bigfoot. All right. What's up, Jack? I see you there. All right. So I'm linking where I got this information from. As always, you guys know me. I will link my sources because I want you to see exactly where this stuff comes from. I'm not making this stuff up. This is what people out there are saying. So that's what's up. That's what's on deck tonight, and we're going to keep talking about this. Let's get the microphone at the exact perfect height. Okay, there we go. Now, this is from WITL. KTL Lansing, Michigan, 100.7 FM. This is their actual website. And let's take a look at this. This is all right. So right in the top here, did Bigfoot cross the Cass River? The jury is still out. And this is new. This is from this week. This is published July 13th, 2021. And right from the article, let's read some of this. I somehow always get sucked into these videos that tout the possibility of a Bigfoot sighting, especially if that potential sighting is here in the Great Lakes state. Apparently, I'm not alone because over 18,000 people have viewed the video below, which I'll link the video in just a moment, posted on YouTube by the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization in the last 24 hours. Did you know, by the way, that there's a Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization? I'll share that link in a bit as well. So here we go. So did Bigfoot really cross the Cass River last week? The article continues like this. It's tough to say. As the headline states, the jury is definitely still out. You'll have to decide for yourself. The original video was submitted to the RMSO by Eddie V. And RMSO, of course, is that Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization, whose cousin was kayaking on the Cass River last week when he spotted the creature in question. Quote, not sure what it is, but I have sent it to a few people to see what they say, Eddie notes. Some say it's Bigfoot carrying a baby Bigfoot. Others say it's Bigfoot carrying a deer. The RMSO, again, that's the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, breaks down the video frame by frame along with a slow motion analysis. Those who took the time to comment on the YouTube video are torn as to whether or not this sighting is the real deal. Scott Who writes, quote, this is a hard one. I mean, if it's fake, then it's an interesting way of faking it, but I have a feeling it's real. But hard to know, really. Still a great video. Leroy Lem 51 is convinced. The stride is huge and the gait is Bigfoot-like. The infant swings to the right. This can't be faked. It's a she-squatch and a child. Double down on this one. Others are more skeptical. Keith Driver weighed in. Quote, I would love for this to be real. I see a hunter in a brown jacket, probably carrying his dog. I just can't get to this is a Sasquatch. And here you go. I'm going to link the video. It's about 4 minutes long, so I'm not going to play it for a couple reasons here. Number one, it's a kind of a radio format, and it's hard to really kind of play a video in that you need to see it for yourself. So I'm going to link it in the chat, and you guys can watch the video and decide for yourself. But I will break down what I saw when I watched this video, and of course, it is strange. It is one of those weird things that makes you really wonder if is somebody faking this or what's going on. What's up, Eduardo? You think Bigfoot is male or female? I would assume there'd be both, right? I think there'd be both. Okay, so in any case, there you go. So there is the actual video itself. These videos, these types of videos actually get taken down quite a lot on YouTube if you play them, right? If I put it up on my YouTube channel, it will get taken down for copyright. I know from experience. So I'm not going to play this video. So I won't do it no matter how much you ask me. But I did link it and you guys can watch it yourself. But here's what I saw, all right? They've got some photographs, and here's the actual video itself. I think I can do a still. Yeah, there we go. Let's do a still of this. And as you can see, out there in the middle of the river, there appears to be a tall humanoid figure in brown, all right? It's in brown for sure. So the question is the brown, as somebody suggested, like a hunter in a jacket, or is it fur? Is it fur? And so we have this, apparently the individual named Eddie is kayaking, and they're cruising down the river, and they see this. They see something walking across the river from left to right, and it appears to be carrying something. So it's like this large figure walking through the river about, waist deep in the water, and it seems to be carrying something like I don't know. Some has speculated that it's an actual, baby Bigfoot or something like this. But you can see some people say it's a dog, some people say it's a deer he's carrying. Who knows? But I guess it depends on the frame, right? If you look at a particular still frame, you guys watch the video and you tell me. But this is what's going on again. So they're right there. I don't see fur. I maybe see a jacket. So I don't know. But it does not seem like this is like the typical hunter sort of situation either. So I don't know. You tell me. That one definitely looks like, that still frame looks like a Sasquatch, like you would expect to see, right? Something kind of rambling across the river, carrying who knows what, whether it's a dog, a deer, or a baby Sasquatch, who knows? But there you go. There's the information, and this came from this actual blog. This is where it came from first. So what's up, Lily? Chestnut brown hair, exactly. That's kind of what you would expect when you're looking for Bigfoot, right? For big feet. So I'm going to link a couple more things here. All these links, actually, I was ahead of the game today. And all the links are actually already on YouTube. So if you want to scroll down and get these links, you don't even have to get them from the chat. They're right down in the description box of the YouTube right now. All the things that I peeled off to talk about this, it's already there. It's already there. Sometimes you're prepared, right? And so, okay, so I don't know. Like to me, there's frames of this video that look compelling, that look like maybe, right? And as you know, we do the maybe juice here. We drink the maybe juice. And so we consider that this may be a Bigfoot. But also, like I said, there are some other frames that appear that it's maybe a person in a large brown jacket as well. So I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. I'm not going to make that determination. But for me, this is not just pretty neat the way these videos kind of come about and really perpetuate these the folklore of behind Bigfoot and the rest of this stuff. It's good. I think this is a good thing, even if this is fake. Even if this is a fake video, it keeps it kind of maybe in the zeitgeist. It keeps it in the top of our mind that when you're out there in the woods, that maybe you should be on the lookout, because you never know what might be watching you from just outside the tree line or just inside the tree line, right? And as we know, when we did our first show on Fringe FM back in the day, we had W.J. Sheehan from Terror in the Woods on the show, and he told some fantastic Bigfoot stories from all the books he's written and all the rest of that. So, again, if you guys are not familiar with that show, go back and listen to that, and you'll be surprised at some of the actual amazing Bigfoot stories that he's got to tell. And that's BigfootTerrorinthewoods.com, and you can find his work there. So I don't know. So back to the question here. So the video is there, and people are outside again after this whole COVID lockdown business, and they're starting to see, and this is one. This is where we're going to start. There are more. Okay, and this is what's happening. So I'm kind of cruising the news, and I'm delighted to find, like I always say, I'm always happy when I see something besides UFOs and mass surveillance in the news that's interesting enough to talk about. And it was Bigfoot today. And so not only is this the first sighting we're going to talk about, there's more. There are more out there. But again, like I said, I want to hear from you. What do you think? The question tonight is that. Do you believe in this Bigfoot stuff, or do you think it's all just a big, elaborate hoax? And do you have a Bigfoot story to tell? Because if you do, we'd love to hear it. And if not, from either yourself or your family, secondhand is okay. But if you do not, what do you think is the most compelling YouTube video or piece of evidence that suggests Bigfoot might be real? There we go. What's up, Fred? Love the maybe juice. Yeah, you got to speculate, right? Like, what is it? What did Aristotle say, right? It's that whole bit. You have to have, what is it? I forgot. The mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain a thought without accepting it. And that's the maybe juice, right? That's probably the more intelligent way of describing what the maybe juice is. But we're knuckleheads on this show. What's up, Ash? I see you there. Speaking of knuckleheads, Ash and myself are knuckleheads, and so we just say the maybe juice. So tonight we're drinking a little bit of maybe juice, and we're asking the question, do you believe Bigfoot may be real? And if so, why? And if you don't, that's okay too. Like I said, we're not trying to convince you of anything here, but the conversation is one way or the other, or somewhere in between. Maybe it's a misidentified something or other. What do they call it? Gigantopithecus, I believe, is the lost ape of the forest that maybe some described this as. But who knows? I think all that stuff is on deck, and love to hear from you tonight. As you know, we're going to be drinking some maybe juice and talking about all kinds of amazing things: Bigfoot, skunk apes, Yetis, the interdimensional hypothesis, and even, why the hell not, Bigfoot and UFOs. You name it, we'll do it. And actually, there's an FBI file on Bigfoot as well. We'll get to that tonight as we do this. But for now, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Give us a call because we're talking Bigfoot tonight. Because why not, right? Why the hell not? Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds after the break. Let's unmute myself. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls because we're talking about Bigfoot. What do you believe? Is this a real thing as part of a folklore that stretched back hundreds or thousands of years? Or do you think this is a modern concoction by a dude in a suit back in the 60s? You tell me. It's all over the place and somewhere in between, right? But as we consider this, we're taking a hefty dose of the maybe juice and looking to hear from you. What do you believe? So this one in particular, we've got some folks that are saying in the chat that this particular video that I've shared as we started discussing Bigfoot seems to be maybe a hunter in the river. The jacket, the hem of the jacket can possibly be seen, things like this. So that's good, right? That's a good thing. As always, we're not here to instantly believe everything we see. We have to trust our eyes. We have to trust our mind. We have to trust our senses and determine what's real for us. And that's part of the conversation. That's why we do it in this format. But I'm looking to hear from you tonight. The question is this. What do you believe about Bigfoot? Is it real? Is it not? Is it somewhere in between? Do you think that there's hoaxes and there's real ones? And if so, why? Why for all those things? And also, bonus, does anybody out there have a Bigfoot story they can share from their family? Right? Or from something, maybe a firsthand experience. I realize this is probably more of a rare thing and we may not get direct stories. So if that's the case and we don't have any direct stories or secondhand stories from your family type of thing, how about what if you, what's the most compelling evidence you've seen out there, whether it's a YouTube video or, casts of the footprints or maybe the hair or the FBI file or whatever it is, whatever you've seen, what is the most compelling UFO? See, UFO is on my mind. But most compelling Bigfoot evidence to you. So we are taking your phone calls as part of that. And if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org and get in here, and you can be part of the show. If you want to be part of the show on Discord, just jump in the caller queue, and when I have a minute, I'll bring you on, and we'll talk Bigfoot. But so there's a lot. There seems to be a lot of evidence here. Depending on who you ask and where you go and who you talk to, there seems to be a lot of evidence for the existence of Bigfoot. But like anything, right? Evidence can be faked. And I think that's the thing. So, okay, so another good point here. So Fred says, I didn't see a rifle or bow. So saying this, whatever's walking across the river as a hunter, it doesn't really have the particular hunting stuff that you would expect if he's carrying his dog across the river, right? So anyway, so I did share the video. You can find it in the links down below, both on Facebook and I think it's everywhere. I think it should be everywhere. But so all the links are there, so you guys can find them. I will put them in the chat as well. But what did you see? Did you see a hunter walking across the river carrying his dog, or did you see a Sasquatch of sorts carrying maybe a deer or a baby Sasquatch? You tell me. You tell me. Like I said, I'm not here to make you decide, or you can decide when you want to decide, but I'm not here to tell you one way or the other what this may be. But so that's what we're talking about. So in Michigan, there was a sighting. And like I said, we coming out of COVID lockdowns, and what do you get? Well, you start to get Sasquatch sightings. Bigfoot is out on the prowl, right? But of course, COVID didn't stop Bigfoot if he's out there, if she's out there. They've been stomping around the entire time. But once people start to get out back into the woods again, well, maybe we start seeing them. So that's the question tonight. That's what we're doing, and we'll get to some more sightings here. There are all kinds of fantastic information. By the way, like I said, did you know that there's an actual FBI file on Sasquatch, which we'll get to tonight. But okay, let's go. We actually have a phone call coming in, and let's talk to our good friend Robert after the screens. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, my friend? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for calling tonight. What do you believe about this Bigfoot stuff?
I've kind of felt for a long time that the Bigfoot is nothing more than, here we go with the UFOs, the tie. There's nothing more than the pets of the aliens, all right? Like you would go outside and you would walk your dog. The aliens let their pet Sasquatch out to go in the woods to go and do his business. And then when he's done, he comes back.
Okay, so you think it is related. So we're going to get into that a little bit tonight, meaning specifically that there have been Bigfoot sightings and then UFO sightings happen sort of around the same time. So some synchronicity there, or maybe coincidence, but you think it's not a coincidence at all, eh?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence at all. And also, I understand why, for hundreds of years nobody's been able to capture one of these things because they're probably in the woods for a brief time to do their business and they're gone. But you would think somebody would find some Bigfoot poop in the woods that could be analyzed because, certainly, it's a creature, so it must have bowel movements. Something like that, but I've never heard of anybody even talking about, trying to hunt down some of that stuff. Probably that stuff's once you see something that looks like the Bigfoot, all right, and you take a shot of it, but it disappears, you saw where, people see where it's at. Well, go into the woods where it was at and see if you can find some poop to scoop.
I'm with you. It would seem like one of the most obvious things, right? Like we've seen, in some of these shows, or people sending in hair samples, things like this, to try and get them analyzed. And it kind of always comes up flat. They're like, nope, it's deer hair, or it's right. It's something that lives in the forest naturally. We already know, right? That's usually what happens. But I think you're right. If it's out there stomping around the woods, it's going to have to, relieve itself at some point. So where's all the poo? I didn't think we'd be talking about where's all the poo, but go ahead.
Well, it probably would be easy to find. I mean, it looks like it's a pretty sizable creature. Would probably leave a pretty good pile. But also, it's tied. I think it's also tied into the cattle mutilations. The other day you were talking about, well, maybe one of your guests was talking about how he was abducted, and he actually witnessed these aliens carving up a cow. All right? You know how they dump the carcass, and it's got part of its jaw missing, it's got its sexual organs missing, and the way they surgically remove certain parts of the cow. Those might be the parts that are like the tender victuals for the Sasquatch.
Right.
That might be their food.
I like it. So we have a theory here that merges the cattle mutilations with Bigfoot, and maybe the Bigfoot is doing this to the cattle. Is that what we're saying, or did I miss something there?
No, the Bigfoot's not doing it to cattle. The aliens are capturing a cow, and taking it aboard and carving it up in just certain sections of it, those tender sections that their pet Bigfoot likes to eat, and then discarding the rest, dumping it back on the rancher's field. Okay, all right. It's all tied together, Michael.
All right. Well, apparently, I've missed the memo that it's all tied together, but we do live in the one universe, so it makes some sense that there's some synchronicity somewhere, right? Yeah, I like the theory. So you do believe that Bigfoot is real, though? It's not just a folklore.
Oh
to you.
yeah, sure it's real. Sure
Yeah.
it's real. I mean, there's been legends of it for hundreds of years, and there's too many sightings of it by rational people. The only other thing I could think of as far as that video is that was a bear carrying its cub across also, but I could see the jacket. I
Yeah.
could see the hem of the jacket so clearly. That's clearly a man there.
It's definitely humanoid.
Yeah,
we can say that. I'm with you. So when I first saw it, it depends on the frame you watch. Some frames it looks like, oh man, this is a Bigfoot, and then like it turns, the individual turns just enough to the left, and you're right. It seems like there's a jacket kind of flopping down. So I'm with you. I'm with you. So that was the frame. There's a couple frames there where it appears to be a person, but there's some other frames that seem pretty compelling before you get to that point, right?
Right. But you know, he could have been. You've gone river fishing.
Yeah, definitely.
You've waddled in. You waddled out into the water, thrown your pole. It could be just this man he's used to crossing that particular river, and he had his dog with him, and he was on his way home. As somebody mentioned about, well, I didn't see no guns. Well, he might not have been a hunter, he might have been a fisherman, or he might have just had his dog out and was walking on home. That's all. But he certainly is a man, because there's no question there's a clear hem of a coat. And I don't believe Bigfoots wear coats. I think they have their own natural coat.
I'm with you. I think we don't, like I said, giving answers on the show. We're not the answer show or the question show. But I think definitively we can probably agree that Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, do not wear coats. I think it's fair to say that and be emphatic
That's
about it. Do you have any Bigfoot experience in you personally or your family? Any kind of stories, or how about are they sighted around where do you live? Or do you live in Bigfoot territory?
Oh, I can't say that.
No.
I was going to say I think I'm married her.
Oh,
I think I'm married.
So there is a Bigfoot sighting around your neck of the woods. All right.
Oh, Pennsylvania, yeah. Pennsylvania, there's all kinds of reports. You know, several times a year, somebody and the scream of in the woods, that high pitched thing, and then somebody sees a shadow of something that looks like a bear standing on its hind legs, and think it's and it may be a Bigfoot. Sure, there's plenty of that around Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pennsylvania's got a lot of woods.
So it is a thing, yeah. So I'm from California, as everybody knows, and so in Northern California, that's definitely Bigfoot country. So I grew up with stories of that stuff, right? Not again only the one actual story that I can tell, which gets old telling it, but you know, I mean, like it's one of those things where people are kind of on the lookout. That whole Pacific Northwest, it's supposed to be covered in them, all the way down to Florida, the skunk apes. So we're talking about basically coast to coast. I mean, I hate to say that because you know why, but
yeah,
really. Go ahead.
You see, there's all these professional hunters, these really good, you know, the best hunters in the world. You know, they hunt bear, they hunt panthers, they cougars, all right, rabbits, and they catch them and they shoot them. You know, big 14 spiked deer, all right. But nobody's ever been able to shoot a yeti, all right. And the only reason I can think of why no one has is because they're not in the woods that long. That they're there to do their business and back on the UFO, the saucer or whatever, and off they go.
All right, fair enough. What do you?
They're pets. They're the pets of the aliens.
Yeah. So in the Anunnaki, that story, they would be like the Igigi or something, right? Like the worker class or something like this.
Here,
yeah.
There's human beings who have pet bears.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So, aliens kind of like yetis.
All right, I'm with you. What do you think about the take that there's some sort of dimensional entity that kind of maybe phase in and out of our reality, and that's why we can't find any live ones or dead ones?
You know, that makes sense too, because the UFOs are interdimensional. So why wouldn't the Yeti? Especially if they're tied to the whole thing.
Agreed. As plausible and possibility type things, I think that it's not a bad guess. So I'm gonna go with that as my initial guess here as we get into some of the more information. But so you never actually seen one?
No, I've never seen one.
Yeah, same here. Unfortunately,
no. I'm not a hunter. I couldn't kill a thing to save my soul.
And God bless you.
You know, when I was a kid, a neighbor would take me squirrel hunting. And I shot a rabbit, and I was heartsick that I killed that thing for no damn good reason. All right, but we took it home and cleaned it up, and rabbit meat makes good breakfast.
Well, there you go.
It's really tasty.
Well, there you go. Now I know. Right on. I appreciate it, my man. Anything else while we got you on the phone tonight? Thank you so much for the call.
No, that's it. The best to you for the rest of the night. I'm going to try to tune in for as long as I can. Want to see what other people think.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's Robert from Pennsylvania. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. Have a great night. There you go. Simple as that. If you guys want to be on the show, you just dial the phone number. We're taking your ideas on what could be the Bigfoot stuff here. So Robert thinks they may be related to UFOs in some way. Is that maybe they're pets? If the UFO phenomena is real and they're all over the place, like some people have suggested, and many people have suggested that. We've all seen UFOs. Probably, if you're listening to the show, probably a high percentage of us have seen things we can't explain, and that's why you're here. So Robert seems to believe that there's some sort of connection between UFOs and Bigfoot. And so, like I said, there is some data to suggest that maybe that's the case, which we'll get to tonight. So anyway, as we continue talking about this stuff, you tell me, what do you think about Bigfoot, and do you think it's real? Do you think it's again, folklore? Do you think it's a fake story? Do you think, what do you think? Whatever you think is okay. Like I said, it's not. This is not the you show up and you're indoctrinated and now you suddenly believe in all the things. No, you believe or disbelieve in the things you believe are appropriate or not, and that's it. And hopefully we talk about some evidence and give you different ways to think about it, and that's what we do. So if you want to be part of the show, just like Robert there, give us a call, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org and be on the show that way. And just jump in the caller queue. It's right there in Discord. Okay, so let's continue. There's more. So there are actually more sightings, Bigfoot sightings. This isn't the only one. There's other things going on here. So this is that actual website that reported this. It's bfro.net, bfro.net. All right, I'm gonna link this, and we'll put this in the chat, and then we'll go to this real quick. But this is the actual Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, and this is from North America. Or is this? No, what is this? Hold on. This is called the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, and it is... no, it's not. Is that not? No, it's not. All right. Anyway, so this is actually a different organization. I'm sorry, I got them confused. But it is a Bigfoot organization that does Bigfoot expeditions, and they're out searching, and they catalog Bigfoot sightings. So I'm putting this in the chat, and you guys can check it out. And we're going to take a look at this. At some of these other sightings that they have actually chronicled. So now the interesting thing too about Bigfoot here is to me is that. Notably, there's a few things that it's not just as you would expect, right? Like, it's not a modern thing. It's not a modern phenomenon, this Bigfoot business. And so not only do they have, the Bigfoot expeditions that they do at bfro.net, Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, founded in 1995, they're calling themselves the only scientific research organization exploring the Bigfoot/Sasquatch mystery. And you can reach them, of course, contact us at bfro.net. But they have reports added recently. All right, so we can click on this and take a look and check this out. This is pretty cool. So this is it just in July. All right, just in July. It was this. Reports posted since July 1st, 2021. At the end of June, actually, so I guess this, let's see. So posted since, not, okay. So there's a sighting in June. Class B, they said. This is in Illinois, Hardin County. Possible Sasquatch sighting by camper near Camp Cadiz, C-A-D-I-Z, Cadiz, maybe, in Shawnee National Forest, and that's June 2021. Here's another one from June 2019, but it was just reported. Possible Sasquatch wood knocks heard near Masonic Monument along Blue Ridge Parkway. That's, again, North Carolina, Haywood County. So you can see, right, so they may not be, brand new as these have been reported. There's one here from October 79, but it was just reported in July. 2 men find unusual brush structure while deer hunting 10 miles east of Cambridge, and that's from Ohio, Guernsey County. July 2020, New Mexico, Rio Arriba County, Class B they call it. I'm not sure what the different classes are. We'll look at that in the break here and catch you up on that. But Class B, possible Sasquatch wood knocks in forested riverbed beside Chama during lockdown. That's New Mexico, Rio Arriba County. Another one, again, so this is just the last month, right? It reports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reports in the last month on this website. And I'm nearly certain that this is not the only place that people are reporting Bigfoot sightings, okay? So interestingly, there's more. There's more here. Let's go to just read a few more of these, and you can see as you scroll down and look, there's April, May, June, July of this year, and you can actually sort by different times and, be able to find this stuff. So, yeah, exactly. Night Stalker at a Masonic statue. Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, wait, what? Yeah. All right, so anyway, a couple more. But I want to point out, so not only does this have modern sightings and things happening in the past, let's say 30 days or even, this past year, there are ancient sightings that they have here. We'll get to that in just a sec. So we've got Colorado, Hillsdale County in June 2021. Family hears loud wood knocks at Deer Lakes outside Lake City. And again, that's Colorado. Here's the last one from July, reported June 8th, 2021 in Guernsey County, Ohio. Salt Fork boaters hear a loud, deep howl. The Ohio howl from adjacent shore. So interestingly, like I said, if you go kind of dig this stuff up, there are people cataloging these Bigfoot sightings. And so I think it's interesting and notable that it's still happening. It's kind of like when we talk about any of this other stuff, right? Like if you go out and you dig and you look for UFO sightings, go to NUFORC, National UFO Reporting Center, right? Or MUFON or things like this. There's all kinds of different databases out there that are collecting information all the time. It's the same thing with this or Dogman or anything else. There's like people out there that are, take it seriously, and they're actually trying to kind of, go after this with the quote scientific method. But anyway, before we go to the break here, which is coming up, I want to point this out. This is another one this is Legends, right? And so they have not only the modern tales, like we're describing, some of the modern sightings, they have an older version of kind of the history of Bigfoot and how they've been sighted throughout the years in different places, right? So you have Indian cultural sightings, and they have the United States kind of sectioned off into different Indian tribes and how they've described this in the past. And there's some good information here. I think this is exactly the type of stuff that you would expect from, say, a scientific exploration of what a Bigfoot might be. So we'll get into some of this as we get back. There's some stories about humanoids who inhabit wild places in the ancient past, and we'll get into that as we go. But that's the question tonight. What is this whole Bigfoot business? Do you believe it's real? Like Robert suggested, do you believe it's related to UFOs somehow? Or is all of this, again, like I'm open to the idea that all this is fake, right? I'm open to those ideas. And so it's not, you gotta understand, this is not you show up and get indoctrinated, like I said earlier, and I'm going to make you a Bigfoot believer. That's not what's going on here. What's going on here is, what do you think? That's what's going on. It's most important to kind of just use your own brain and collect your own evidence. And if you think this is real, fantastic. Let's hear why. If you don't, also fantastic. Let's hear why. But that's what we're talking about tonight. It's Bigfoot. We're calling this a little bit of a palate cleanser from all the UFO news and the Summer of Saucers. And we haven't talked about Bigfoot since January. So why the hell not? Here we are doing it. Do you want to be part of the show tonight? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And yes, we are talking about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the skunk ape of Florida, the Yeti, and all of that. You tell me what you believe. Love to hear from you. One more time, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. More about Bigfoot and you after the break.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And this is a show where we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. And let's add to that list, because this is what we're talking about tonight, Bigfoot. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Sasquatch, Yeti, the Florida skunk ape, all of the above. Do you believe this stuff is real? That's what's on deck tonight. We are streaming live on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Shout out to Joe Roop and the folks at Fringe. Thank you for having us and being so gracious and kind and allowing us to share this fantastic journey. I'm talking about weird stuff because that's what's going on with this. And we're taking your phone calls that I mentioned. Since we're live, since we've always done this show live and we'll always do this show live, if you want to be part of the show tonight, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and you can find the other Discord, the Fringe Discord, at fringe.fm/chat. Please join. Come say hi. There's conversations going on in those places 24 hours a day. So if you missed us live and you want to maybe recap and talk to some folks and maybe throw your ideas about Bigfoot or consciousness or whatever topic is really on your mind, there's a whole community out there that's kind of really, really wanting to talk to you. So if you're missing it, you're not on Discord, you're missing it. Okay, so what we're talking about tonight is which is fantastic, by the way. I'm kind of watching the same sort of news cycles to roll through, and it's all UFOs all the time because of the summer of saucers. Is there once I saw the Bigfoot articles, I was like, okay, I know what we're doing tonight, because people are out. People are out again. I know some people are saying I never locked down. Well, good for you. A lot of the world was locked down. A lot of businesses were kind of, let's say, strangled out of existence. And people are now back after the vaccination rates are up, and that's not what this show is about. So relax. But once people are back out in the woods and spending time with their families and doing the things instead of, locking down and sheltering in place and all the rest of this, of course, you would expect people to start seeing Bigfoot again, right? And being out in the forest and the rest of this stuff. That's what's going on. So we have this article this is from Michigan, Lansing, Michigan. The WITL is 100.7 FM. And this is where I first saw this as reported. And there's a video. There's a video of a what appears to be a humanoid thing. It could be a person, of course. All brown. It looks like now the thing that's weird, right, is you'd expect if it's all brown, including on the head, that's what kind of makes this a little bit more compelling, because it's like, wait a minute now. But it appears to be some humanoid thing, all in brown, that's walking across a river, the Cass River, Cass River in Michigan, and it got me thinking about Bigfoot, and that are there sightings continuing to happen? And it seems like they are. It seems like I said, we just kind of went through some of the most recent Bigfoot sightings as reported by what is this? That's why I skipped the one. The BFRO, which is the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. And so somebody in the chat there, who is this? Who said this? Lockbeard in the chat said that we shouldn't trust Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization because they've been known to manipulate data. I've never heard that before, but again, that's why we do it live, so we can learn from each other. And I'll throw that out there as somebody said that, and I can't confirm or deny that because I don't have that information, but somebody said it, so we'll throw it out there as evidence for the record. But anyway, they have 2021 Bigfoot expeditions open to members from the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. What I also wanted to point out, too, is before we got to that, this other one is the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, and they're the ones who actually reported this the Bigfoot sighting that we're talking about in Michigan in the Cass River, C-A-S-S River. And so here we go. I'm going to link this, and you guys can follow up and check this out if you prefer. As always, our links will be down below in Facebook, YouTube, and all the places we stream. You can find all of our links. Like I said, I'm not the guy that's making this stuff up. I'm finding this somewhere. We're talking about it. We're speculating, and that's what we're doing. So here we go. So this is from the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, and these are the photographs. So let's zoom in on this photo, and if you can see it, let's and zoom it in. I think that's the one right there. So it appears to me, my breakdown on this is I think it may be a person. Because I think, like Robert's saying, you see kind of a hem in the jacket line or something there, kind of around the hip, the waist, something like this. I don't know. I don't know exactly what to make of that. I wouldn't expect like a bear to have like kind of a flap that appears to be a pocket or a, something like this. But anyway, I'm going to say this one is not a Sasquatch. But you got to admit, if you look at the face on this thing, it doesn't seem like it's a person, right? I think that's the weirdness of this. It seems like, it's all in brown and, I don't know. Maybe it's somebody trying to fool everybody. But that's what this looks like, and all the links are again on the Facebook page, on YouTube, and everywhere else. You can go find them, follow up on me, and see that I'm not making this stuff up. But anyway, so it was a Bigfoot sighting, and so it kicked off. I was like, all right, let's check the recent news and see if there's more Bigfoot sightings. And of course, there's these different places. We've got the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization. We've got this other one called the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. And sure enough, right, if you know where to look, there are constantly new Bigfoot sightings all over the country. And I would presume all over the world. Most of this, of course, is North America because that's where this stuff is based. But that's what we're talking about tonight. Bigfoot and some of the sightings as the lockdowns kind of end and people are out in the woods. They're starting to see Bigfoot again, and the sightings are coming. So you tell me, what's up? Lily in the Fringe Discord says he's wearing a ghillie, unless he's downwind and didn't smell them. Yeah, maybe, right? Again, like I said, I don't know what to think about this. It could be a ghillie suit, but you tell me. Anyway, so let's go to, I'm not sure who this is, but I think, is this Eric? I think this is Eric. What's up? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you?
What's going on? Yeah, it's a nice talker.
Oh, what's up, Mike? You did it again, man. You did it again. You got me with a weird phone number.
Sorry, bro.
Derek from Massachusetts. Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Going on. Great stuff.
Thank you.
I'm calling from work, so I gotta be quick.
Okay,
but I got a couple Bigfoot thoughts.
Go for it.
All right. So first, like with the, are they interdimensional? Well, I've never seen one myself, and I really have no clue what they are. So this is all just kind of conjecture, just kind of like tossing ideas out there. But a lot of times people bump up against the idea that these things could be physical or interdimensional. So they're like, well, what about the footprints? What about the scat we're finding? What about blah, 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 the fur? Like, how can it be interdimensional? But I feel like that's not exactly the right way to look at it. Like, people are thinking that they're like disappearing or they're like ghostly or like ethereal somehow. But it could, which is very, very possible. But it could be more like Stranger Things and like the Demogorgon, where they're using like a portal system. Like the Upside Down is like this ethereal realm or whatever, but the Demogorgon is like a physical thing that comes and snatches up kids. I'm getting a little bit of echo here. Basically, I think it uses like a portal system pretty much. Like it was, I believe that there's portals attached to like rivers or like near these rivers and waterways and stuff, and a lot of these sightings. Obviously, Bigfoot needs to drink water and needs to eat stuff, but like also it could be because they're coming in and out of these doorways. So, like, the reason why we could be not finding bodies and not finding a lot of evidence is because they're not spending a lot of time out and about in the forest. They're like, imagine them like humans who like scuba diving or trying to like fish. Like, we don't live in the ocean, but we go down, we'll dive down into this other realm for a while, come and snatch up some fish or whatever, and then go back up. And to the fish, we're probably some kind of weird cryptid thing, you know? So what if, and like, Bigfoot doesn't even need to be cognizant of this happening. For all we know, they live in a parallel realm or some other like world that looks almost like our world. They're walking through this cave, and all of a sudden they come out the other side, and they're in like our woods. And they might not even know. They might just think like, okay, this is the cave where we go hunting. And they go in, they hunt, and they leave. And that's why we don't find a lot of like dead bodies and stuff, you know? But also, like, I'm very open to the idea that they are some kind of interdimensional thing, some kind of like trickster element, or some kind of like wild man spirit of the forest, you know? Because like a lot of the phenomena like around it, like wood knocks, weird like things being thrown, weird like sounds, and I don't know. It's very poltergeisty. If that was happening like indoors, if the same kind of phenomena was happening inside your house, you would say my house is haunted. You know what I mean? But like, because it's happening in the woods, you're like, oh, it's Bigfoot. You know? So there is some kind of weird line between these things. What if it is some kind of trickster entity that's going out there taking the form of like this ape man or whatever? I don't know. There's possibilities around this, you know?
Yeah, so another interesting thing to note with the portals you were saying there is I interviewed a guy a while back from Navajo Nation, and he was talking about skinwalkers, and he said that they in particular have a portal system they use, and it's maybe not like an instantaneous sort of thing, but they're able to maybe get into like these wind tunnels and travel very quickly from one point to another. And so it kind of makes me wonder if it's something similar, right? Where it's like it's like an underground cave system, but they know the exact places to enter and exit where they can travel faster than a car might, kind of as the crow flies type of thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know.
And like,
go ahead.
Like, I think that this kind of touches on like every different type of activity or type paranormal activity or fringe topic. So like I always bring it up, but I think there's a world grid, like a natural grid system on top of every planet in the solar, or every planet in the universe, like, and it connects every realm. It's this nexus thing that kind of like weaves this web that weaves everything together. So the reason, like, I'm very open to the idea that Bigfoot is a pet of an alien, but also I think that these portal spots are just like airports for like every phenomena. Like, I think like this like window area, they're not actually like opening a portal, whatever, and going to a specific spot, or like going to the same place the aliens are going. But I think these like nexus regions are like terminals or whatever for portals for all different realms. So like when the portal at Skinwalker Ranch opens up, everything can come out: demons, aliens, metal wolves, and like skinwalkers and all kinds of stuff. And when it opens at the Star Ranch, or when it opens down at in Georgia, or over in Vegas, you know what I mean? Like it's this grid system, like whack-a-mole, where these doors kind of open up at random times and things get out. So people might be seeing UFOs and seeing Bigfoot at the same time and place, but they might not be actually like interacting with each other. They might just be like coming out the same doors, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not sure. There's a lot it's a lot to think about. I mean, I'm open to everything, but there's a lot of like the thing I'm most critical of is people who say that there's no connection to anything weird when it comes that they're just flesh and bones. And to me, I think that's like a dead paradigm. And I think like you gotta be bending over backwards to like ignore all the strange, like high strangeness that's associated with Bigfoot now at this point. Like there's more going on than just like an ape creature. Like, well, like it could be an ape creature, but I think there's like other elements at play that make it more complicated than just like some missing link species that's hiding in the woods for a really, really long time, you know?
Yeah, and
that's just me.
Yeah, just hiding their dead very well, or something like that, burying them or whatever. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm with you, man. So good stuff as always. Anything else while we got you on the phone? I know you're in a hurry there. You're at work.
Sorry, no, I think I'm good. Thank you, though. Great show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Derek from Massachusetts. Have a great night. Thanks for listening, my friend. Simple as that. Great theories from Derek as always. And this is the quality of people you can meet if you join the Discord, guys. Did I mention you should join the Discord? Fringe.fm/chat. Derek's active in there. He's also active in the Troubled Minds Discord. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Lots of people with lots of great theories out there, and that's why we get together and talk about this stuff. And I think he brings up some pretty amazing points. Specifically, that if we're talking about Bigfoot in the capacity of the flesh and bones Gigantopithecus and some sort of lost, maybe, North American ape that's been, kind of stomping around and avoiding people for a very long time, that's one thing, right? That's one thing. But I think, as he suggests, and I agree here, that it's pretty unimaginative to assume that it's only that, because there are some weird howls. There are these things that seem to be there and then not be there. They seem to be, again, back to the Patterson-Gimlin footage, some actual compelling footage of these things as existing, but maybe they're kind of like we speculated in the past on this show, maybe kind of phasing in and out of like a fourth or fifth dimensional type reality. And so we can see them sometimes we can't. And maybe it's intentional, like you said, sort of a trickster spirit sort of situation. Or I've even speculated in the past that maybe it's not any of that, and they're kind of maybe not so smart, kind of have the fight or flight mechanism, and they mostly run because they're skittish and don't understand what's going on, as they accidentally phase from one reality to another. And, I think those are the things we have to keep in mind when we consider not just UFOs, which we talk about quite a lot on this show recently. Again, this is not the UFO show, but we do talk about UFOs. But it's the same sort of thing. It's like you got to imagine, are they coming from Alpha Centauri at light years away, when it takes forever to travel a light year? It takes a damn long time at speeds less than the speed of light, right? But if there are portals or exotic propulsion, or who knows, this dimensional transitioning type of thing that's been speculated. I don't know. I think this is the weirdness and why we talk about these things and kind of do it in the format, because you never know. You never know what kind of theories are going to come out of this. But yes, great call, Derek. I appreciate that so much. And look, if you guys want to be part of the show, simple as that. You can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and get in here. All right, let's continue. There's more. So let's go to, again, like I said, the RMSO, and they have these photographs. I've linked the YouTube video. I'll link it again one more time, and you guys can check it out and decide for yourself. Is this particular video compelling, or do you think, like some people have said, nope, that's a hunter, that's a person? Maybe it could be a hoaxer, right? It could be a hoaxer. Who knows? I think that's the sort of thing. The weird thing about me that makes me think it may not be a hunter and a hoaxer instead is because if you look at the face, it doesn't seem to be like the face is covered by like a hat, and like which hat to you guys covers your entire face and makes it look like the rest of your coat, right? They kind of don't exist, do they? Unless you're out there on the freezing, you might have something that covers your whole face to keep the wind off of it. But for the most part, a hat's going to be like a ball cap or a beanie or something like this, and you'll still be able to see like the color of the face, and it doesn't seem like it's any different from the color of the rest of the entity. So that's the only thing that seems weird or kind of out of place here in this particular thing, in this particular video. But anyway, so we're talking about Bigfoot tonight, and there's been some sightings again in Michigan and all kinds of other places, and we've got these other Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO.net. We have this other one, the actual what is this? This is the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization. There's some websites here where they actually chronicle, Bigfoot sightings. And again, like people could be hoaxing them or any of the rest of the stuff. But yeah, what do you guys think? As always, we got a phone call. We'll take that in just a moment. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. But what is Bigfoot to you? I guess that's the question here. So let's go to, this looks like Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Hey, Mike. Calling in about the Bigfoot thing.
I appreciate it.
I think that they're trolls.
Trolls, okay.
I think that they're, if you look at Scandinavian myths, and if you look at Nordic and Norse tales, and even the cases in Himalayas, the abominable snowman, And actually, there's more than just the abominable snowman. There's like all kinds of abominables, like ogres and giants in folklore. And there seems to be like a ton of similarities between old folklore about trolls, mountain trolls, the Jotun, and all of the different cases of the abominable snowman. The similarities are that they're usually very large and hairy, sometimes grotesque, and sometimes not. You know, they can even look more human than monster in a lot of cases. They have magical powers. For example, they can disappear. There was two different folklores wherein one was, you know, if they're exposed to sunlight, they'll turn to stone. And another one is that they have the power to hide from people by turning into a large rock. They're a type of nature being, but with the Jotun, they're also considered to be really hostile towards humans in a lot of cases, wherein if they can't eat them, they may throw rocks at them. Or there's really a lot of tales, too, of what's called mountain taking, where they basically kidnap people and will hold them for a period of time, which is that's something I've heard with Bigfoot stories and Sasquatch. So I think the American Sasquatch, American Bigfoot, is the trolls of folklore. There's just so many similarities. Also the smell, that they have a horrible smell. Apparently the breath of a troll can knock a man out because it's so terrible in the folklore. And so I think with the skunk ape of Florida and those kinds of things, that it's probably talking about the same thing. I think it's just a renaming of an old folklorish nature creature, and has constantly been kind of usually an enemy of mankind by taking like their children or taking their animals. So that's very common that they do that, but they typically avoid people, which is similar with the Bigfoot. But as far as where do they go, how do they go here to there and disappear, it may be that they have some certain types of troll magic, which would be like they can change into things you usually see in nature. So they're not really going anywhere or popping up anywhere. They're that's one of their magical powers, apparently. But yeah, I think that I've never seen one, and I have heard one story down here I'm in Missouri, of course, and this is the Ozarks, so it's pretty, and actually I live out in the middle of nowhere. And I was getting a ride with an Uber driver, and she told me that one of her friends, she was friends with her because she had driven her so many times with Uber, had called her in the middle of the night to come get her because she thought she had seen a Sasquatch in her grandmother's yard. And she was terrified, so she was crying and just really scared, but that she basically had come out and it was just standing there. But I don't know if that story is true because it's not my story. But like I say, I've never seen one. But the Jotun of Nordic folklore, it basically it's almost exactly, and some of them can be 17 feet tall, some of these mountain trolls that live in like bigger mountain ranges, like the Himalayas and places like that. So I think that it's just our word for trolls and Jotuns.
I love it. As usual, bringing some hot fire to the show. I appreciate it, Jennifer. I'm with you. I think that maybe we're misclassifying a bunch of things that we shouldn't be, and I think that if you keep an open mind, that's going to lead us down the path. We're about out of time, so a final thought from you, if you could.
No, that's it. You have a great night.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the call, Jennifer from Missouri. You guys can be on the show as well. Good stuff. Look at that. Smart people, great calls. What is going on with Bigfoot? I'd love to know. Love to know your take on this. We got some great theories so far. Is there something we're missing? This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Thank you guys for the fantastic calls so far tonight. Looking for more. 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More about Bigfoot and you after the break. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're talking about Bigfoot tonight. And not just Bigfoot, what could this be? Is it simply folklore, or is it something else? We've heard several theories tonight. trickster spirits, pets from UFOs, possibly misclassified giants. I've thrown skinwalkers out. What is this? What is Bigfoot? What do you believe? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? Do you think it's misclassified? Or are we just spinning our wheels and having a good time? And I'm okay with that. Because, of course, well, if this isn't fun, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Like I said, it's kind of a palate cleanser sometimes to get off of UFOs because it's all the cover up and all the government sliminess and all the, right, that whole bit is just, it becomes ridiculous sometimes. And so it's nice to kind of get off of that and talk about something else and maybe kind of spread your mind in different directions here. And that's what we're talking about with Bigfoot. Have you maybe had an experience with Bigfoot? Have you ever seen one? Do you have a family member? Have you seen a compelling video or compelling evidence? That's what we're talking about tonight. And if not, and you believe they're real, what do you think they are? What do you believe? And that's the question here. So like I said, this is the question show, not the answer show. I don't know the answers to these things. So many people will try and tell you they know the answers. I'm not so sure it's as easy as that, but well, that's just me. That's just me. But in any case, let's continue with this discussion here. So not only do we have specifically people starting to see Bigfoot again, meaning that we're, after the COVID lockdowns, people are out in nature and doing the things that they do. So this is pretty neat that I don't think we covered this properly when it came out. We kind of did like the quick version of this when it actually happened. But this is reported by Yahoo News, and this is from 2019. So this is June of 2019, and they report this, and this is fantastic, which we'll get to this in just one moment, actually. But the Federal Bureau of Investigation on Wednesday released a correspondence file containing the results of tests it performed on a tissue sample alleged to be from Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, a purported human-like creature that was sporadically reported to be roaming the wilderness in the Pacific Northwest. All right, I'm going to link this and you guys can check it out as usual. I prefer you have my sources, so you see I'm not making it up. But this continues. The 22-page file made public following a Freedom of Information Act request showed that the FBI agreed to test a hair sample attached to a tiny piece of skin obtained and submitted by the Oregon-based Bigfoot Information Center. Yep. Did you know there's a Oregon Bigfoot Information Center? Yep, there sure is. Apparently there's a lot of Bigfoot organizations, but yeah, neat. Good stuff. Quote, "Will you kindly, to set the record straight," and this is from the document, "once and for all, inform us if the FBI has examined hair which might be that of a Bigfoot. When this took place, if it did take place, what the results of the analysis were," Peter Byrne, director of the Bigfoot Information Center, wrote in a letter to the Bureau. "Please understand that our research here is serious." See, serious business, people. Serious business. But in a subsequent letter addressed to Byrne dated December 15th, 1976, J. Cochran Jr., Assistant Director of the FBI's Scientific and Technical Services Division, told him to send the sample to the FBI laboratory in Washington. Yeah, that's right. Did you guys know that the FBI has actually done some research on Bigfoot? Right? Yeah. The plot thickens, does it? Well, it is only the FBI, but, there it is. Anyway, so, but in a subsequent letter, I just read that, quote, "The FBI laboratory conducts examinations primarily of physical evidence for law enforcement agencies in connection with criminal investigations," Cochran wrote. "Occasionally, on a case-by-case basis, in the interest of research and scientific inquiry, we make exceptions to this general policy. With this understanding, we will examine the hairs and tissue mentioned in your letter." So, even the UFO ridicule extends to the Bigfoot conversation. And funny enough, they have to say that, well, we take this stuff seriously, but us in particular, we're going to suspend it and drink some maybe juice. I added that. But they're going to actually look at the tissue samples. And here's another one. This is from the History Channel, and this is again, the Bigfoot was investigated by the FBI, and this is again from FOIA Freedom of Information Act requests in 2019. So this stuff was released then, and here you go. Oddly enough, this seems to be a real thing. Well, at least the study of it, right? At least the study of it. So let's do that. So there we go. So we just read that. So here's actually hair samples sent to the FBI for testing. We've got like the metric millimeter of the measurements of these things and the rest of this. Let's actually just go to the FBI file itself. I was flipping through this before we started tonight, and here's where you can get it: vault.fbi.gov, and I'm going to link this, and we'll look at some of these documents. And so you got to wonder, right? If the FBI was spending time looking into Bigfoot, does it say that Bigfoot has there's some merit to the story, or does it say that the FBI is just, well, I won't say it because I don't want anybody to kick in my door, but you understand, right? You get the implication. But there's some pretty good stuff in here. So I did link this if you guys want to check it out, and I'll go full screen so you can see what I'm looking at. But so the thing is this, right? You have all these pages of actual people. Look at that, like real documents discussing Bigfoot in here, right? So in this one in particular, it says, a gentleman. This is from the FBI, and this is from August 26th, 1976, straight from the FBI file on Bigfoot. I'm going to read just a little bit of this so you guys understand what's going on here. There's some weirdness, right? Gentlemen, this institution conducts research on and into the Bigfoot phenomenon in the Pacific Northwest of the USA. We have been in operation for nearly 6 years, and we are associated with the Academy of Applied Science of Boston, Massachusetts. From time to time, we've been informed that hair, supposedly of a Bigfoot, has been sent for examination to the FBI. Has been examined by the FBI, and with the conclusion as a report of the examination, it was not possible to compare the hair with that of any known creature on this continent. Will you kindly, to set the record straight once and for all, inform us if the FBI has examined hair which might not be of a Bigfoot when this took place? If it did take place, what the results of the analysis were. Please understand that our research here is serious, which we read from the other thing. So this is the letter sent to the FBI in the FOIA request, and this is from the Peter Byrne, director of the BIC, which is the Bigfoot. What was that? Bigfoot, what was it called? Anyway, there you go. And so there's more, right? There's like official documents here, and there's actual, articles from the New York Times and things like this. So is again, right? Like if the FBI spent time on this, what do you think? Do you think they were just kind of, yanking our chain, right? Or I don't know. Like the thing to me is when you consider the things that the FBI was doing or is still doing, with remote viewing and, MK Ultra and some of the really, really weird things, it doesn't seem too far out there that they're, open to looking into Bigfoot to me. But what does that say, though? What does that say? What does that say about Bigfoot and the rest of this? So we're still looking to take your calls tonight. What do you guys think? What are the theories here about Bigfoot? We all know the stories, right? We all know the legends, the folklore. It goes back hundreds of years, supposedly. The natives have them, drawings of them and stories of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. Or how about if you live in Florida? Talking to you, Joe, out there. What about the Florida skunk ape? Do you think it's something similar? Do you think it's different? What's going on with this? And that's what we're talking about. So looking to hear from you tonight. Got about 15 minutes left, so we have time for a call or two here if you guys want to squeak in and give us your theories. What do you believe? Do you believe that there's some sort of a UFO connection with Sasquatch or Yetis or whatever else, or some sort of interdimensional connection? Do you think that's related to skinwalkers? That's kind of what's on deck. Is it are they misclassified as maybe trolls or giants from Scandinavian folklore, like Jennifer suggested? You tell me, or anything in between. Anything that we haven't really touched on yet is also fantastic. But here's another weird one. So this is from as we continue tonight, my interdimensional hypothesis. All right, with in particular Bigfoot. So let's go to this article real quick. This is from wokehub.com. And, well, there you go. You also can be Bigfoot woke, I guess. So which is fine. That's all fine with me. We're okay to do that. But let's read a little bit from this. And, again, putting the phone number up, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Let's look at this. Evidence of an interdimensional connection between UFOs and Bigfoot. And this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier when Robert called. He thought that maybe they were related somehow. They were pets of maybe the UFOs or this type of thing. Now, John Keel, you guys may recognize the name, the prominent ufologist and paranormal researcher, famous for the Mothman prophecies, once proposed the idea that there were window areas throughout the world, connecting our reality with parallel dimensions. These areas, Keel imagined, may help elucidate some unexplained reports of entities that are too fleeting or confusing to later detail or prove. With the increasing plausibility of the multiverse theory and infinite neighboring universes, maybe we should be asking ourselves, are UFOs and Bigfoot interdimensional travelers? And could there be a connection between the two? Kind of like we discussed earlier with Robert there. And interesting. This is I think where probably like most plausible to me, right? Not the guy in the river that maybe looked like, he was wearing a brown jacket. Not that. But let's say that there's a lot of compelling cases out there where people see these things, right? And like Jennifer stated, and I agree, the smell. It's one of those things where people, not only have they had rocks thrown at them and seen them in crazy places, they have bizarre smells related. So what is this? What is going on with this? It continues. For hundreds of years, people worldwide have reported encounters with monsters, fairies, demons, and cryptids. To this day, those experiences persist. While many of these same entities have also been encountered through the use of psychedelics. All right, there we go. Anybody met a Bigfoot on DMT? So there we go. So Keel referred to these entities as ultra-terrestrials. All right. Now we've heard this term. We've talked about this term. And here we go. They're known as beings capable of crossing dimensions at will, often acting as cosmic pranksters. Indeed, Daniel Pinchbeck says he has experienced prankster entities cross from a psychedelic realm into the real world after encountering them during and in the subsequent weeks following a trip. And not a trip, like a trip to Yosemite, yeah, that's right. A trip off of a hallucinogenic, if you catch my meaning. When it comes to Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Yeti, or whatever you want to call them, there's often a playfulness and or spookiness described in their actions. Tree knocking or eerie screams alert us to their presence until we get close enough where they might offer a glimpse before vanishing seemingly into thin air. Their appearance could be considered from another form of prank, embodying a primitive ape-like creature that exudes a noxious odor. Yet they're able to evade contact with us despite thousands of reported sightings over hundreds of years. Is Sasquatch cosmically trolling us? An intriguing account tying UFOs and Bigfoot together comes from an 1888 meeting between cattle ranchers and a group of Native Americans in Northern California. The natives described 3 crazy bears that descended from the sky and a small moon, leaving them in the woods before taking off. There you go. There's your UFO connection. We can read a little more from that article as we go, but I'm looking to hear from you guys tonight. That's some good stuff there. I think that if we're talking about DMT trips and some other weirdness, that why not, right? Why not? Why couldn't Bigfoot be some sort of trickster entity from a different parallel dimension, parallel divide of sorts? So anyway, looking to hear from you if you guys want to be part of the show. We're talking Bigfoot. What are your theories here? Do you believe it's real? Do you believe it's not? That's okay too. I think it's important to note we are the show that talks about all kinds of weird stuff, but just because we do doesn't mean that you have to believe it. We could look at this skeptically as well. So it's up to you. What do you think? 702-957-1037. It looks like we've got I think this is this Game Vet 02? Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Our truck driver friends on the road. What do you think about Bigfoot, my man?
On the road. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the road. I just this whole Bigfoot deal, I don't know. Growing up, I never really believed in it. I thought, it's just a myth or whatever. But honestly, in '98, I had an experience. I don't know if you want to hear the story or not. I can make it short. My parents had 5 acres, okay, and it was surrounded by farmland all around the property. So basically, between the properties, there was it was a wooded area. And one night I was having a bonfire. I invited all my friends to come over, but none of them showed up that night. So I had a cooler full of beer and stuff like that. And I was just sitting there by the fire, and all of a sudden I started hearing pacing in the trees right across from me. Like somebody was walking, like pacing back and forth. And then I'd have a beer, and I'd hear it, and, you know, and then I would kind of slow down after a little bit. And then I'd put more wood on the fire, and all of a sudden the pacing would start up again. It almost sounded like somebody was getting mad that, you know, the fire was burning hotter and higher and all this stuff. And this went on for a good 3 hours, okay? At the half-hour mark, when I started hearing the pacing, I said, "Hey, I hear you in there. I hear you pacing back and forth. Why don't you come over here, have a beer with me?" And I actually put a beer on the chair, you know, right next to me.
That's friendly.
Said, "Come on over. I'll open up." I said, "Come on over. I'll open up the beer. You can sit down and have a beer with me." And then all of a sudden, you heard pacing again. You could actually hear the branches being, you know, pushed up against the body of whatever that was walking back and forth in the woods. And like, this is very bizarre. So then after 3 hours of sitting there, I'm like, I gotta go. I have to go to bed. I'm super tired. But so I said, you know what? You're not gonna come over here and drink this beer. I will. So then I grabbed the beer off the chair and chugged it down real quick. I stomped out the fire, and as soon as I chugged the beer down, the pacing was, you know, it seemed like whatever it was mad. So it started pacing back and forth again. I said, "All right, good night. I'm going to bed," and I just, you know, chucked the bottle down and went to bed. Well, now this is the same property that back in '93 I had my first UFO sighting with a buddy of mine. So I don't know. I think they might have something to do with the UFOs, honestly.
Yeah. So
because when
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, just going to say
back in '93, my buddy and I we saw this light or whatever. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it was just a light that would turn on and turn off real slowly, and it would light up everything brighter than daylight. Okay. So after this happened about, I don't know, 6-7 times that this light turned on and off, and after it stopped turning on and off, we heard an actual yell, and it almost sounded like the Skinwalker yell. If you look it up on YouTube, it has a distinct yell or whatever. And after that, me and my buddy, we got freaked out, you know, and we took off. But then I thought it was interesting in 98 that I heard this pacing. So I don't know. I think they are related somehow.
Yeah, so there has been, like I said, it seems to be there are a correlation of sightings sometimes with, not always, of course, but with Bigfoot and UFO sightings happening in the same area, kind of around the same time. So I'm open to that. Those are the ideas that we need to consider, right? As you know, just speculating and looking at maybe some of the evidence for sure. Game Vet, we got to go. We got a call behind you. We're running out of time here. So final thought while we got you on the phone.
Just keep your camera handy. I mean, that's all I can say, really.
All right, you got it.
You got to catch this stuff when it happens.
You got it. Keep the camera handy. I appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Have a fantastic night. Drive safe, okay?
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, bro. We'll talk to you soon. There you go. GameVet02. Follow him on YouTube. GameVet02, just like it sounds. And he's, again, I always have love for our truck drivers because they're out there doing the hard work while we're sleeping and stuff, and making sure that our supply chains are right where you need them to be. So thank you again for your for doing what you do, man. We need people like you out there. We got another phone call. Let's take this. I'm not sure exactly who this is. You are on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name and where are you calling from?
Vicky from Indiana.
Vicky from Indiana. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Thanks, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. What do you think about Bigfoot? We got about 4 minutes left, 3.5, 4 minutes. So go right ahead. It's all yours.
Well, I do believe that there is Bigfoot for several of them. And I kind of have this feeling that they are mostly in a different realm. And, sorry, I keep hearing my voice come back here. There we go. it's kind of like a jinn. Because jinn, a lot of times you can see them when they're moving, but otherwise you don't really see them because they're in a different realm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. So you're kind of more of the mind that it may be sort of a trickster spirit, kind of maybe moving in and out of dimensions, or maybe becoming invisible, things like that.
Yeah. And who's to say that there's not a lot of them out there?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. There's a lot of sightings. There's a lot of sightings for sure. And I think that's why it becomes a compelling conversation, right? It's because you just never know. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot, Vicky?
No, but I have seen jinn.
Okay, you have. All right. And so you think it's the same thing,
yes.
The same phenomena.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Good stuff. This is Vicky from Facebook, right?
Yep.
Awesome. First-time caller, long-time listener. I appreciate you always being great in the chat, offering fantastic stuff there. So love our first-time callers. I appreciate it so much. As you know, we're out of time, so we got maybe a minute left. How about a final thought while we got you on the phone?
Sometimes I'm thinking that why can't people just leave these other entities alone instead of just trying to follow them? And we don't like anybody or anything that's different.
I kind of agree. Sometimes we should just leave things alone. I'm with you. 100%. And us meddling humans just seem to not be able to keep our hands off things, right? Very good stuff. Thank you so much for the call, Vicky. We'll talk to you soon, okay? As you know, we're out of time, so we're gonna wrap this up. All right. Thanks a lot. Sorry about that. Cutting in and out just a little bit, but fantastic call. Thank you. Like I said, Vicky's always in the Facebook chat, stirring it up, adding some fantastic thoughts to the conversation. And I see you guys out there. I do see you. Just because you don't call, I see you in the chat. I'm reading all of it as much as I can, and I do appreciate it. It does make the conversation go around when you're out there letting us know what you think in the chat as well. So thank you so much for the call tonight, Vicky. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this. Like I said, I mean it. Go look it up. This is the great conversation. This continues. We're, God willing, we've got tomorrow. We're going to continue talking about weird things and considering all possibilities, whether we're being fooled or hoaxed, or whether there's something more to some of these strange mythologies as we consider everything. And that's what the show's about. That's what Troubled Minds is all about. So we're getting together and sharing our troubled minds. So as we finish, this is the end of the week for us. We're done on the regular show. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. If you haven't followed our Twitch channel, please do. We'll be there doing Troubled Minds news and talking about kind of quick hits of the news and the rest of that. But for now, we're done. We're done for the week, Monday through Thursday. It is Thursday. And happy Thursday. Thirsty Thursdays. Cheers out there. As we finish, thank you for listening. Be sure, be strong, be true. Stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds if you're listening on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, Periscope, or the podcast feed. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. And thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. That's funny. What's up, Penny? Because I put COVID lockdowns in the. I got the banner. I got the correction banner. I find it hilarious. They want to correct my my use of COVID, but they don't want to correct Bigfoot. Oh, geez. All right. So, as you guys know, we are off the Fringe, off the radio now. So it's time to let our hair down and talk about all kinds of weirdness. As always, right, this conversation will go wherever you want it to go. This is not just my platform. This is your platform. So if you have an idea of sort of maybe a tangent thought tonight, as you know, we have time for you. And I'd love to hear it. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to, we're open to that. Whatever you want to talk about. Bigfoot is where we started. We've gone dimensional. We've gone trickster spirits. We've gone flesh and blood, just staying away. We've done all that. What do you think? As always, it comes down to not what I think. It comes down to what you think. You tell me. And so 2-minute break, and we'll be right back with more Troubled Minds. 1 more hour of Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. Still taking your phone calls. I'm going to put the phone number up, and we'll be right back. 2 minutes. 702-957-1037. Be right back for more Troubled Minds. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm going to put my headphones on one moment. All right, we're here talking about Bigfoot and Bigfoot and you. So what do you think? I think this is we've had some fantastic ideas tonight with some great calls, and considering all the things, right? Is Bigfoot one of those things misconsidered? Is it maybe misclassified in our minds as a flesh and blood sort of ancient hominid that's found a way to survive in the deep forest without really encroaching on human beings? And kind of as clearly as humans expand, is it plausible, or do you think it's something else entirely? Do you think it's not a flesh and blood creature? It's maybe like those trickster spirits of the forest, or do you think it's misclassified as maybe European folklore of trolls and things like this? Or, again, is it a dimensional entity somehow related to UFOs and the rest of that? So lots of good ways to think about this. And, when I was young, of course, many of us know the Bigfoot folklore and Bigfoot stories. There's a lot of this that we're talking about today that I never even considered as possible. Like, I always figured for sure it was just going to be, like it was either, like an ape in the forest or it wasn't, right? And that was it. That's the only considerations, right? But oddly enough, I think the conversation becomes larger than that. So we've got a couple calls here we're going to go to. Hang tight, Kelly. We're going to go to Matt first. He's got a bunch of pictures that I'm going to put up on the screen here. Let's see. So I'm putting these up, Matt, but let's go to you, and I'll put this stuff up, and we can flip through the pictures as we talk about this. So hang tight, Kelly. We'll be right with you. Matt in California, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Mike. Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much. I got your pictures here,
right,
putting them up right now. But go right ahead.
What do you Bigfoot?
Yeah, the Bigfoot stuff.
Okay, so I'm open to everything. I've never seen one, so I'm open to it maybe being fake. That's a possibility. I'm open to everything that Jennifer at Night Stalker called in and said. So I've never seen one, so I'm open to this. But my theory, I lived in Oregon for a little bit recently, and out there the forest is so vast. I use that word vast, like looking out over in the Pacific Northwest, looking over the forests out there. It's like that's where if I was a cryptid, and I'm talking about all cryptids, not just Bigfoot, the Wendigo, Dogman, all the different ones. That's where I would be, away from humans. I wouldn't be. Bigfoot's not hanging out at the bar. He's out in the woods hiding from us. They're like these, and we think they're like these like Neanderthal or like primitive creatures, but like we've seen monkeys do things like smoke cigarettes and learn sign language. So who's to say they aren't intelligent in a way, not intelligent like we are, but in a certain way where they're just hiding from us. Like they could smell us. They like smell sneaky humans, and they run away from us, and they're hiding. And as we, plow down the forest and build cities, we're like encroaching on their land, and they're running out of places to hide. That's why we're seeing them. And so, like in Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, you know what people do for fun out there?
Go squatching.
Yeah, they go hiking. There's nothing to do out there. They go on trails. They go walking on trails. That was a thing to do. And so I thought that was interesting. Anyways, so I'll talk about this Bigfoot museum I stumbled upon it's in Boring, Oregon. Yes, that's the name of the town.
Boring.
I stumbled upon it. So I don't know if you're showing the pictures, but if you're showing the pictures, if people have questions or if you have questions in the chat, we talk about it live. But so I found this place, and I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe, you think it's like these carnival attractions, pay money to go see the, whatever's behind the curtain, and it's like, a jar made up something. But no, it was actually legit. It's a Bigfoot museum, and it's you go to the gift shop and you pay money to get in. But back there, it's an exhibit, and they have some really good evidence. I don't say evidence of compelling stuff. They have all those cast molds there that they collected, and you can even look at them with a magnifying glass. They give you a magnifying glass that you can see the curves or the lines in their foot. And there was these guys a while back, and I don't like people that fake stuff. I'm sorry, even with UFO videos or Bigfoot videos, if you fake stuff and you put it on the internet and say it's real, shame on you. You're in my way.
Yeah.
But there's these guys a while back. They made a fake, wood, I don't know how footprint, a Bigfoot footprint, and they were making their own, right? And they were trying to say it was a real Bigfoot footprint, and those were there, and you could tell a difference between the fake wooden ones and some of these other plaster molds they had that you could see the, how you say it, not the veins, but the lines in your feet. If you look at your feet, you see imperfections and lines. You could see them in the mold of these Bigfoot footprints. They had some really cool stuff there. They had, you could hear, you put on headphones, you could hear them. They had some good exhibits. And so anyways, what I want to talk about tonight on this one major thing I don't know if we talked about yet, they had this exhibit there, and it was about how come we don't find dead Bigfoot's bodies? It's a great question. And it said, what it is talking, and this is just, of course, this is a theory, this is what it was in this exhibit. And what they were saying was that Bigfoot is an apex predator. Nothing else hunts a Bigfoot. Only man, we're looking for it. And that's another thing why they hide. They know man will, what are we going to do when we find a Bigfoot? We're going to hunt it down and dissect it in a lab, right? So they're apex predators. There's nothing else. No other animals hunt them. And so when they're about to die, if they're going to die from old age or whatever they're going to die from, if you ever know, this is kind of sad, but if you don't know, old dogs, they go hide under the bed or they hide away. They don't want the owner to find their dead body. But if a Bigfoot knows it's about to die, it will go hide in the bushes and lay down and die. And they're the grass, the nature takes over it, and that's why we're not finding their bodies. I thought that was a pretty interesting theory. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I've heard something like that, and also I do like that one. They maybe go into the caves or something, right? Maybe there's some sort of death mechanism, but it still wouldn't account for maybe hitting one with a car, right? Things like that happen. Accidents happen.
Yeah.
But then there's other ideas too where it's been suggested that maybe Bigfoot bury their dead, and they do it maybe in cave systems, and that's why it's been very, very difficult to find the remains of a Bigfoot. So I mean there are actual plausible things that we're talking about a very rare creature of the forest, and we're going with the flesh and blood hypothesis now. But if so, right, and they're doing their let's do the ancient astronaut theorists say yes type of thing. If Bigfoot is out there and it's super rare, and they live maybe in family packs as have been suggested, right? Maybe small groups of 2 or 3 type of thing, really small families. When one passes away, maybe they are, burying them in cave systems, and that's why we haven't found them. For one, we're talking about over a really huge range of forest area. 2, we're talking about a very rare creature. And then we're talking about possibly how they have, burial practices, or like you said, that maybe they sense when they're going to die, and they go as remote as possible to the tip top of a mountain or a bush or something. Who knows? I mean, there's some, just because we haven't dug one up doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I think that's the big misnomer here. And, it's the same thing. You can't, archaeology and anthropology and some of this stuff, they're literally working on 1/10 of 1% of all the data. So it wouldn't surprise me if we hadn't found it yet. It just wouldn't surprise me and it does exist out there. So yeah, I do like the theory that maybe they're finding a way to hide their bodies, and that's just why we haven't found them yet, and we're still working on it. Definitely good stuff. What do you think about the other hypotheses? If you had to make your best guess, do you think it is like the flesh and blood hominid kind of stomping around in the forest, avoiding mankind, or do you think it's something else, like the trickster spirit or whatever?
That's good. That's a good question. Like I said, I think with all cryptids, we call them, all the cryptids, it could be a combination of all of it, but I think, like I said, they're hiding away from man as best they can, and that's why we can't find them. When I say the word vast, you think of vast like the ocean. There's all kinds of things in the ocean we don't know about. Space, that's a whole nother, we don't know anything about what's out there in space, how the vast, V-A-S-T, that word, how much is out there that things could be hiding from us, and we won't even know. And the whole portals, the ley lines, all of that stuff, it all could tie in. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but I believe that whatever it is they've been here, whatever the Bigfoot or any cryptid, we have these stories. So there's something going on here. They come from somewhere. Tales, like how Jennifer was saying, like trolls or old, Scandinavian ogres and things like that. Those stories have been told forever. And so I think there's something there. I don't know. It could be all of it. It could be that they're just humanoids hiding. I don't know. It's got a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, I agree. And the more you think about it, the more strange things kind of pop up with like this interdimensional connection with UFOs and Bigfoot and portals, and man, it goes as deep as you want this rabbit hole,
crazy.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And then we're talking about having hallucinogenic experiences with pharmaceuticals, right? and meeting Bigfoot that way. Who knows, man? Who knows? No best guess? You're open to all of it, and you think it's a good conversation, right? I'm with you on that, anyway.
I'm open. Definitely. It's a great conversation, and I'm open to all of it because I don't know, but I do believe there's what we call a Bigfoot, a Yeti, trolls, whatever you want to call it, something like that, a creature out there that's been here forever before us, even maybe.
Yeah, definitely, and they've been reported all over the world in different ways too. So yeah, I think probably a lot of us are onto maybe some other things that don't get discussed too often with the Bigfoot stuff, and I think there's maybe some misclassification, maybe some some of these old tales, there may be some truths to them that we haven't shined a light on yet as a scientific world. So looking forward to that. Hopefully, maybe we can dig one up one day. And anybody, let me know if you find a Bigfoot. Love to hear from you. Geez, yeah. All right. Anything else while we got you on, Matt?
No. If there's any questions you have about those photos, just let me know. I'm on Discord. You can find me on Facebook, wherever. But I just want to say, yeah, if you're out there, if you're faking UFO videos or Bigfoot videos, shame on, and uploading them to the internet saying they're real. I don't like you. I don't like that.
Don't do it.
If it's real, I want to know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's getting in our way, and that's probably the best way to put it, like you said. Thank you so much for sharing the Bigfoot Museum, your ideas, and you're right, vast is the word for the undiscovered forest country out there. So thank you so much, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Have a fantastic evening, okay?
Thanks, Mike. Good night.
Thanks, Matt. There you go. Simple as that. You want to be on the show at 702-957-1037. Give us a call. We'll put you on the show, and we're talking Bigfoot tonight. And all kinds of theories and hypothesis with this. Is it, do you believe it's a flesh and blood critter? Do you think it's fake? Do you think it's whatever, right? I'm open to all these things, and that's why we kind of discuss it in the open forum here, because we want to learn from each other, and having different takes from different people is what this is all about. So once again, 702-957-1037. Go to troubledminds.org. See, Matt's on the Discord. Everybody's on the Discord. So if you're not there, you're missing out. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and get in there, and let's hear about it. Let's hear your theories on this stuff. All right, let's go to Kelly. Whenever you're ready, Kelly.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, bro? You're becoming a pro at this Discord thing. I say, whenever you're ready, Kelly, the mute button comes off immediately. I appreciate it, man. How are you tonight?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Oh, doing good, doing good. I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. Too much UFOs, too much government conspiracies. Let's talk about some high strangeness with some Bigfoot and some other things.
Yeah. The Bigfoot creature, or Sasquatch, known as, through the Native Americans here. Can't remember her name. She was talking about the other ones that were like a troll. That was pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, this Jennifer. Agreed. That's one I hadn't actually considered, is that maybe we are misclassifying these things. And that's good. Again, right? Part of getting together and hearing all kinds of takes on this is, it's weird, right? Like you throw a bunch of stuff together and it seems like we're closer to the truth than a lot of people. Even though I don't know what that truth is, it just seems like we're closer, right? Because you consider all the things.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you hear like a lot of, these type creatures have been, they're they're supposedly seen worldwide, But like, so me again, I'm gonna go into. You ever read the Epic of Gilgamesh?
Not in its entirety, no. I do know the outline of the story. Yes.
Yeah, the Enkidu, right?
Right. Yep. Enkidu. Yep.
Yeah, the Enkidu, the first wild man.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't man. He wasn't man, or he was made of magic and the mud of earth, and like the clay of earth. So the story goes is that he was Gilgamesh, he was a real abusive to his people, and he had there was complaints from the citizens to the gods, and the goddess Ariru, she pinched the earth, and down came Gilgamesh, and he was abundantly hairy, he's more primatic, he was living in Roman with herds of animals, grazing in the fields, drinking from the rivers, and with all running around with all the beasts. And so the story is that he had to be manipulated by a female. With and he was after that he became smart. He became he had knowledge of a man. So he was like the great about the same size and strength as of Gilgamesh, and they battled each other until he tired out. And then they just like became friends, and it was like a whole epic of what they went and did. They went and battled this thunderbird that breathes fire. It's a pretty crazy story, but Gilgamesh is actually one of the kings that ruled on the Sumerian king list. Some of them that reigned over hundreds of thousands of years. But he was after the flood, and his reign was only 126 years. But anyway, the Gilgamesh, the hairy beast, that could be part of this. I'm going to kind of throw a twist on that as well, because even so, when I think about the pinching of the mud or the earth. You hear like in the Jewish folklore, they have what they call a golem, and it's more or less like an inanimate anthropomorphic being. It was created entirely from an inanimate matter, usually it was like they say it was clay or mud. So, these things could be, people always wondering when these things die, or how come we never found anything. Maybe if it does die, it just returns back to the earth, as mud, as clay or something,
Ah, that's a good one. That's what actually Jennifer just suggested that in chat. Maybe they change form at death. That's another good one. Yeah, that's an idea. So if you guys don't know the idea of the golem, as they're called, it's like an entity of mud, right? And so there are from nature, but then they're animated through some sort of magic. And then once, of course, the magic depletes from their body, or upon death, they become mud again, right? That makes a lot of sense there, Kelly.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting why people say, because these things have been, they've talked about from every culture all the way down, even to nowadays and being filmed. People say, there's actually been some of these ones that, they put these cameras on these highways. And there was one in like upper Arizona. It looked like a whole. I've looked on YouTube right real quick before this. I jumped on, but The only thing I could find was like a picture from USA, news that they kind of did a real quick clip on YouTube. But there was one. It was actually, they had it on YouTube for a while, and they might have took it down, but it shows like a group of them crossing the freeway. They're coming out of because where the camera's aimed at, it was like on a turn, like a bend. And yeah, these things are, and they slowly, like they're just kind of walking out, kind of like looking around for a minute, and then they just cross over. Or you see them ones from like, they have cameras on eagle's nest, and looking down further, there looks like a Bigfoot creature type walking across. I mean, I don't know if it could be what it could be, you know what I mean? But it's pretty, couple of them look pretty interesting, and not some guy in a suit up, running around the mountains at, 11,000 feet or something.
Yeah, and I think that's the weird part about this is there's so many stories of people who see these things, and then not only that, like I said, I think there are some compelling videos out there. It's just unfortunately they become used as these little caught on camera shows, right? They get sold off as, because they are good videos, they get sold off as these little super heavily protected copyrighted things. So we can't even play them on this show anymore. We used to, and we just get copyright strikes like crazy. So I mean, they exist. Videos exist to these things where some of it's clearly faked, like the one we saw, maybe misrepresented. Maybe that's a guy walking across the river. Did you see that initial one when we started tonight?
Yeah, I kind of got a little video of it. I mean, that's kind of hard to tell. It does look like something. It doesn't really, kind of, for me, it doesn't. It's not a compelling thing of a Bigfoot. Not for my opinion, anyway.
Okay, fair enough. That's why we do this and talk about this stuff. I'm with you. I don't think that is. I think from a couple different frames and looks, it seems like maybe. But then when it turns to the other side, it seems like it might be a person kind of in a jacket or something like this. So, but again, that's just one, right? That's literally just one. There's a ton of them out there. There's one in Canada I saw, this is probably sometime last year. And I don't know if I don't think we played it on the show because we can't. But it seemed like there was a family out there that was just doing their thing in the woods and started scanning around with their camera because somebody said, "Do you see that over there?" And they're like, "What?" And so they zoomed in, and there's like something kind of like standing by the tree, and it's huge. This thing is just massive. And as they start zooming in, and the entire family turns and looks toward this thing, it kind of leans sideways and hides behind the tree. It's like, what the hell? What is that? That thing is monstrous, right? I mean, they exist out there. Some of these videos are okay. There's a lot that are crap and fake. But it's like you said, the stories, you can go story after story after story, and we're not even talking about the natives and their stories. Like, how many hundreds of years back does that go? Like that's the type of stuff that makes this not just kind of a passing fancy and like a folklore to me,
Yeah, I mean, again, there were some people that had hair samples and stuff like that they send in, and they never got them back. Or they've never, some of them would say it would be an ape of a creature, but who knows, Again, so for me, if it's a hairy being that's walking around, and say, again, going back to that Gilgamesh thing, right? So Gilgamesh, if you've seen a picture of him, he's the one guy that looks like he's holding a lion. He's by the head, he looks like a cat, like a house cat. You know what I mean? So these things are could be pretty big size. And those feet, if these things are real, that some of these footprints that these people have, I mean, those things are massive.
Yeah, exactly. And just so we had some pictures that Matt shared from the Bigfoot Museum. Those things are giant. There's no way that's even Shaquille O'Neal, right? That dude doesn't have feet that big. Come on. This is the type of stuff. We either being completely fooled or this stuff is real, I think that's part of the problem here, right? As always, unfortunately.
I had a best friend that always wanted to do that. He had maps of mountains from Utah all the way up to Montana and going into Canada. He wanted to hunt this thing down, man.
Actually bag a Bigfoot, drag it home?
Yeah. actually, you know what? Now that we're talking about that, I heard there was a group that's actually paying. I don't know. They got like a bounty on Bigfoot for the first one to catch one alive. They don't want to hurt it. They want to just capture it alive.
Well, we're still waiting. We're still waiting.
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen that idiot that claimed that his dad had a frozen Bigfoot? And
yeah. Back when Frank was on the show, it was one of the last shows we did with Frank. We were talking about that, and he's got like these pieces of the Bigfoot, right? Like the head, and he's got like the arm, and all kinds of other stuff. That I mean, clearly the guy faked it. The guy's a great hoaxer because it looked good. It looked pretty good, but that's not a real Bigfoot. It's not a real Bigfoot. Look it up on YouTube, guys. Dead Bigfoot, and you'll find it. The guy's like cutting it up with the knife. Yeah. And there you go. Like Matt said, if people are faking stuff, I hate you. Don't fake stuff. Come on. Why are we going to be faking stuff like that? I don't know. So what do you think then? So Gilgamesh is a good angle there. What do you think? What some of this other stuff? Maybe the trickster spirits or some of these other things. Any other ideas on this that maybe could snap this into a different perspective here?
Well, let's say it was a real hominid. Let's say, because for me, it's almost like what I would call the Adamu, one of the first men. You know what I mean? This thing was intelligent enough, big enough, strength enough. They only needed these things for like heavy lifting. You know what I mean? They didn't need to have it procreate or anything. No, really smart. They were just mass producing these things, and they said they took the creature, of the whatever was here, and then that's the storyline, right? So they mixed over, but they had certain levels of these creatures that they made. The first ones, they were like more like knuckle draggers, big ones like a Bigfoot, intelligent enough to to do stuff. But if they're from this earth or of this earth, of course they're probably the best hide and seek, guy that ever walked.
I've seen the shirt, the hide and seek champion.
Yeah. So, who knows? And they're like, again, these things are all over the planet. So they're obviously somewhat intelligent. They're not some kind of and I'm not saying apes are not, but they're not like primatal like that. They're like they move in packs. I think they're not just one of them or two of them. If they're, of this creature, an animal of this planet, but, they could be cave dwellers too, that's where they could hang out, because if they're in the mountainous areas, man, there's a lot of places that some people don't go, and even here in Colorado, man, there's, still, even if there was, how many times are people going to really go up that high? We got the most 15ers around here, that's here in the northern United States. But 15ers are 15,000 feet and higher.
Right. And again, like Matt said earlier, he sent us a picture of Oregon, and just vast is the term for the forest there. And it's not the only place either. Like the entire West is basically just covered in like desert and forest, and it's largely unpopulated. Many military bases, famously and infamously over here with Area 51 and stuff like that. And there's a reason, right? There's a reason why they have these bases over here, because it's like these huge wilderness areas. So it stands to reason, right? I mean, all this is very, very plausible to me that this is there's something stomping around out there. What exactly it is, I have no idea. But it is fun to think about and talk about. What about? I know you got the native blood in you. Is there anything that you can think of that is compelling about old stories here that you maybe off the top of your head?
No, I mean, some of the ones, there's a lot of First Nation natives that, there's stories all the time, big hairy creatures. Most of them that you could see now would be like on the reservations that have like, most plentiful of, natural resources, wildlife and, fresh, that are like more of the northern, like going up to Montana, like the Crow, or up in the Black Hills, with the Sioux. And then you go into mostly into Canada and to Alaska, those areas, because once you get into Washington, man, if you ever been into those forests up there, man, that's more or less that's like a jungle. You know what I mean? Because everything's mossy and like everything is just, it's more of a, it's got its own type of atmosphere there. It's, it's always raining. It's more misty there. So it's created all that moss and stuff. So it's like almost like a jungle itself there. But then you're going into, Canada. Alaska's kind of like that. It's all the tundra. These in those mountains like that, you can't even, not even running from a bear, you'd be dead. Because the roots and shit that come up out of the ground and, the trees that are hanging down, that shit's dense, real dense. The grass is real high. There's some of that shit you can't even see until it's, up on, right on top of you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's part of it, right? It's kind of like in going after something in its own habitat, you're seriously disadvantaged. So it would be easy. So think about bears, right? Let's say if bears were just a little bit smarter, and they really, really hated human contact, and they just ran. Every time they smelled you or heard you, they're just out. They're like, forget it. They went the opposite direction, right? And and let's say that like the bears are like a smaller population. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty soon they'd all retreat to like remote wilderness, and we may never see any bears. So I don't know. Just the plausibility of all this is it's kind of in your face. And so the people that are like laugh at Bigfoot stories, I don't know, man. Like I hope you don't run into one. like go ahead and laugh, but if this shit's real, man, it may be too real for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean if. Got to look at that as a beast like that, like a bear, like you're saying. A bear could smell like 10 miles away, a wounded animal 10 miles away. And they're not, they can hunt that shit down. They'll walk that shit down until they find it, So who knows? This animal could probably have the same ability. You'll never even see it, And unless it wants you, unless, you're infringing in their area. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then the whole portal thing, that's something I can get with too. Sometimes some people say they see UFOs with those things or whatever. But let's say this animal too. If say like I said, like it was the first human being type. Those things. Who knows how long they could live? Because in the Bibles you have like what Noah was one of the oldest ones, or his great grandfather Methuselah. They were like 900 years old. Who says this beast can't can live thousands of years, Maybe, it takes thousands of years before one of these things fall over and drop dead anyway before they find their bones, and they know what to do with them.
Exactly, yeah. And so I'm with you. Like, I think these things are real, Like, you map it out as, even if they're, like with the bear analogy, this stuff is possible, right? Like, we talk about humans with sixth senses and things like this, right? Like how, if you remove their sight, people can hear better, vice versa, things like this. Your senses are what they are, but then we're talking about the animal kingdom, and this clearly kind of falls into a non-human entity, animal, whatever. And so if a bear can, have those kind of senses and smell forever away, what about this thing? What if it's like, like a bloodhound bear, that could smell way better than a bear, Like there's literally no chance if a human came anywhere, they could avoid it. I don't know. It's not even that big of a stretch to kind of give it magical powers, Like I think it just the flesh and blood plausibility is right smack in your face too. Like I was saying there. Matt has a good question. Imagine running into a Bigfoot. What would you do?
I'd probably shit down both legs first.
Same here. I was about to say.
I don't know, man. If that thing breathes down your neck and you just, man, I don't know. That would be scary as shit because, like I said, some of that shit's so dense. Okay, for example, we go down on the Kenai. We're gonna be heading up to Alaska here soon, but we go down on the Kenai, right? And we kind of beach we're fishing down for kings, for some salmons, right? You pull the boat over, you get in, you got some waders on you, you're trying to get these suckers, right? So, but then you hear this noise behind you, right? You kind of keep you got to keep a good ear for that shit, and always have Justin with you, just in case, big old gun, because you never know what's gonna come popping out of that, out of the forest like that. because that grass in the summertime is really high along the banks. You're not gonna know. Once that noise starts getting louder and closer, everybody jumps on the boat and you're head down. Next you know, man, it gets a big ass moose jumping over across the river. Even those things would stomp the mud hole in your ass. So, you know, you got to be real vigilant. And again, you wouldn't even see that thing unless that's like right on top of you. And to see one, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a good scenario there. Like kind of out in the wilderness, you turn a corner, come over the top of a hill, and there's a Bigfoot standing there. Yeah, I'm with you. Just like Jay says, crap in my pants first, and then after that, well, whatever happens, happens. Maybe I'm lunch. Yeah.
Offer some beef jerky, bro.
Yeah, that's right. That's what the commercials say. Snap into a Slim Jim or whatever. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like weirdness here. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like this, a lot to this. Like I said, lots of fun thinking about it. I've never seen one. I'm hoping to one day, and hopefully it's not super close on accident. I don't want it to be like that.
Have you seen that video of? There was in Canada. This guy, he was scared shitless. He was recording something screaming in the forest. It was in like during the wintertime. You seen that one? I
haven't seen. He was running away. No. I've seen some in Canada, but not that one.
Walking from his car, but he just, when he was filming it, he was on his porch, and you could tell he was kind of shaking because he's scanning the whole forest. But you can hear something screaming. I'm talking screaming, man. It's like that shit sounds dead. It doesn't sound like a regular, other kind of bear or. But I've heard wolf or some fox made some crazy noises. You ever YouTube that shit? But this shit was, man, it's like I don't know, man. It's something I've never heard of. And I'm on the mountain, man, too. I've heard some different animals. You could tell them when you're out there, if of the mountains. But man, this one, I don't know what the hell's screaming. It would send chills up my spine too.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Like I said, we'll do it in a future one. We won't talk about Bigfoot too soon here to try and space it apart, because too much Bigfoot too fast is people get sick of you. But in the next Bigfoot show, I'll pull some of those audio files out, because people have them out there where they have, they submit them to particular websites, and they have these howls in the middle of the night that are just not. It sounds otherworldly. It's not something you find in North America. I've heard that stuff, man. It's like you said, hair stands up on the back of your neck type thing. And if you're out there without shelter and you hear that, man, that's your first clue to crap your pants, because who knows what's about to go down, right? Dwayne's got a good point here. Let me read this real quick. Dwayne says, the fact we haven't got any believable, proper, high-def footage in this day and age makes me highly skeptical. As well, you should be. And that's what we're talking about tonight, kind of maybe this is a misclassified thing. Maybe it's not what we think it is. And so, yeah, that's part of the conversation. Or maybe it's fake. That's part of it, too. We started out with what I think is probably a fake video, a fake Bigfoot video. So, anyway, go ahead, Kelly. Sorry, I just want to throw that in there as part of the conversation.
No, I was just gonna. I don't know. I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. I don't know if I say they're real. There's too much evidence out there that's saying not. I don't know what other people want though. Maybe like people say it is magical, or maybe it's part of it's jump gating. You can open up a portal, jump in and out. Because that does happen. I believe. Because. My theory on it is, you have all these realms, or let's call them realms, right? Or dimensions. And they're going to collide once in a while, and something opens up and they might cross over, even if it is just for a minute. You know what I mean? And they know when it's closing, or it draws them back and sucks them back in, but it's only here for a minute. Who knows, Maybe these things, because there's some stuff that's recorded where this lady was under there was this cave with, it's like this fresh water, everybody kind of dives down in, but this thing kind of jumps, it pops its head out, right? It looks like it had a beak, and it looked like one of those small, it was a smaller dinosaur, but I don't know, it was like a long neck, but it had with a long beak. I don't know the name of it right now, but man, it had the flippers and everything. but it was like it scared the shit out of her. And she's just filming it because you could tell it even swam it was like real fast, like a seal or something. But this shit had a beak and everything, man. It was crazy looking. And it was only, then they flipped around and, just, all you seen was like a fin and bubbles and it was gone. Boom. There was nothing there anymore.
Like I said, scared the hell out of me. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. That's on YouTube, I assume. We can't play it because they'll take us down. Because they're assholes.
Yeah, probably, man. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, Gregory, what's up? Shout out to Gregory. He comes by once in a while. He's in the chat tonight. He says this: as a note, black bears range 50 to 60 miles. What is to say Bigfoot doesn't have such a range, or even double that? I mean, as a larger creature with like more of like a bipedal motion, they could cover more distance than you would expect a bear to be able to. So I don't know. I think that's a fantastic point. You never know. And that's what we know from bears, black bears, grizzly, and the rest of that, right? The Kodiaks are the big bastards, the Alaskan bears, right?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't even be able to run from that thing, especially something like that. Imagine, if it's, it's a mountain creature, right? And it already knows it, so it's jumping from rock to limb to. Man, you're not getting away from that thing.
No
Hell
way.
no.
No way. I've got an uncle that lived up in Alaska for a lot of his life, and he's got a story of a Kodiak. He was exactly like you're describing, like kind of out there in Alaska, right? You always carry a rifle, like a high-powered rifle, because nothing else will take down a Kodiak bear. You have to have like literally like those big-ass bullets short of a 50 cal rifle, right? I don't know the caliber, but everybody carries rifles out there for that reason. He said he came up over a ridge one time, and they were just out there doing stuff, hiking, whatever, and him and his buddy were together because you got to look out for each other because you never know. He comes over a ridge, and there's a Kodiak bear standing there, and it's so close to him, he's like, oh shit. It's like one of those, it turns and looks at him and starts to come at him, right? Like the bear charge like you would expect to see in like a Hollywood movie or some shit, right? And he's like, oh crap, he's fumbling for his rifle, and his buddy luckily saw what was happening from off to the side and put several rounds in this bear as this thing's charging my uncle. And he said it was exactly like a movie like you would see from Jurassic Park. They put the bear down just in time as it landed and skids in the snow and ends up like right at my uncle's feet. Like like literally if his buddy was looking the other way at the wrong time, he was dead. He was lunch. And that's the scary stuff. Just like you said, imagine a Bigfoot in like the same instance. You kind of come over a crest and you're like, oh shit. Oh no. Now what? What do we do now? Crazy stuff, man. Yeah, them bears are giant. Yeah, good stuff. I don't know. So what about the trickster spirit angle? What do you think about that one?
It could be that too. There's other cultures that have something like that. It's like these little trickster things. They kind of, they're not mean, or they're not nice either. They're just like here to, they pop in and out. They're like I said, they're tricksters. They do. I guess just fucking around with you. I don't know. It's a kind of a weird. It's a different theory to me, though. But who knows? You can never say never. Just another thing to put on the list of something to check out.
Amen to that. We got Jay in the Discord behind you. So, and any final thoughts here while we wind this down, Kelly?
Oh no, man. Just you guys have a good evening and peace to the family.
I appreciate it, Kelly from Colorado. Say hi to Michelle for us. Thank you very much. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Okay. Thanks, bro.
All right, brother.
There you go. Simple as that. See, be on the show, and we'll be nice to you. We'll have a conversation and talk about all the weird things that we talk about on this show. And tonight's Bigfoot. What is with Bigfoot? Matt says, Mike, what about that trail cam photo of the shadow monster with glowing yellow eyes? I haven't seen that. If somebody has that, if you want to drop it in the Discord, I'd love to take a look. I don't know. I've seen some trail cam stuff that's pretty horrifying, like a deer kind of cut in half walking around. Like there's some pretty horrifying trail cam stuff out there, but I haven't seen the one you're talking about in particular. But so we're talking about Bigfoot tonight. We got a little bit of time left if you guys want to be a part of the show. It's 702-957-1037. Watching the phone lines, and we're watching the Discord where we have Jay. Jay in New York, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
Good, Mike. I'm good. Do you hear feedback from the YouTube?
Nope.
I didn't.
You are loud and clear, coming through perfectly, sir.
Awesome. I was trying to do all three things on the telephone because for some odd reason, it doesn't matter.
You're turning into a technology pro.
No, no, but it bugs me because my kids play the games all day long and everything else like that. They never have any issues, but I sit down and listen to your show and there's always a hiccup. There's no college kids in town or anything else like that. We've got all these 5G towers all over the place on telephone poles and stuff like that. It's like, why can't... If I was listening to a video on Facebook or something about something different, it would be loud and clear, but for some odd reason, it's a challenge. But back to Bigfoot. I like Bigfoot.
I like Bigfoot, too.
Yeah. In Ohio, we had a thing called I grew up in Ohio, teenage years running around out in the woods with all the other kids and everything else like that. We had the Ohio grass man, is what it was. Because there's unbelievable amounts of just grass that they let grow until it gets chest high when you're a kid, I mean, all you'd have to do is lay down. Nobody'd see you ever. But you'd come across them when you were mowing for your uncles or something like that, baling the hay, driving the tractor out there. And you'd come across these places where you could see where deer make a pretty distinctive pattern when the herd all lays down together. And then there'd be these ones that just kind of look like someone put effort into it. But if I was out there camping or something, you think you'd pull up a little bit of dirt or something and build a fire in the middle of it, but there never was. And we always called him it's just the Ohio grass man. He ain't doing nothing. That's what everybody always. Just don't worry about him.
Don't worry about that little guy. Yeah. Well, did you ever actually see it? Like see something like that?
No,
shit.
No, but I was out camping with a bunch of Boy Scouts one time as a leader, young leader, 20, 21 years old. And we heard this blood curdling, I don't even know what you would call it, scream, whatever it was. It was nuts. Everybody was just like, just leave it alone. Just let's not do anything. And then one of the kids tried to mock it. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And the thing did it again. And I was like, listen, everybody let's just be quiet and go to bed. Sat up all night long, throwing sticks on the fire, getting it as big as it could be and everything else like that. It was just like, I don't know what that was. I don't know if I want to know what that was. I sure hope this fire is big enough to make sure it stays away from here.
Exactly right. I don't know. Like I think, and it's weird too. Like different parts of the country have like these different versions, right? Like again, going down to Florida with the what's the Florida guy called? The what was I saying earlier? I can't remember now. But there's a Florida one, but all over, right? Again, the Yeti and the Himalayas, and it's just all over the place. The grass man, like you said, the Ohio grass man. What was it? The Florida skunk ape, I think is what it's called, right? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, that sounds familiar from listening to the show. I had to do some double time on the beginning of the first hour and stuff like that because my mom called. And that double time is hard to do. Yeah, I don't know how you edit your show on double time.
No, skills. It's a lot of practice. Actually, I'm cheating now, so I don't even listen to it anymore. I can tell where to make the cuts by just watching the waveforms. Because I've done it so much.
Impressive.
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh, right about there, and then I'll listen for just a second or two to make sure I'm right. But I'm almost always right now. It's like they say, like you do anything often enough, and it seems like this shit you're doing is magic. Just because it's just a lot of experience. That's what it is.
That's how it works. I mean, even as a carpenter, that's how it works. You go there, you look at it. This is what I got to do. It's going to suck. Just do it. And
exactly.
Move on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think, that the thing that you were talking about, the whole skinwalker, and, you know, that thing, that could be a big possibility, you know. Why haven't we ever found a body?
Yeah,
you know?
it comes back to that, right? Why haven't we ever found a body? And I'm with Dwayne Dibley there. Like there's some bizarre things, right? But I think that just because we think of the world we live in terms of one particular slice of science, it doesn't mean that there's some other things that we haven't discovered yet. And that's why we talk about this stuff. Kelly had a great point with the golem, I think, right? Like there's been this thing that they said was animated from clay or mud, and when it dies, it becomes mud again. So how would you ever, right? If it's an animated thing through magic or ritual or what have you, right? Then maybe this is exactly what we're talking about. I mean, who knows?
It just goes, and when it dies, it instantly goes back into the earth.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
Possible. I mean, I can't break that off, I mean, there's no way I could break that off. How am I supposed to know? There's no way that all of us could go out there and research even one of the topics that if we took everybody that called into the show across the board, Friends, the YouTube, the Facebook, and all of it, we put us all together on one task. I mean, there's no way we would be able to do all the research necessary. It would.
Yeah,
it'd be impossible.
It's too much. Yeah, kind of like I've said too. If you go to John Greenwald Jr. with the Black Vault, he does all the FOIA stuff. He's got millions of pages up there, like 2 million pages of FOIA documents, and it's just too much for any one person to go through. So the only way that happens is by kind of crowdsourcing it, by getting many people to look at it, right? Like to kind of break it up into certain sections, and then have people kind of do their own individual investigations in certain chunks of that material. But that's exactly what we're talking about here. It's weird, right?
Gain that story. Yeah. Hey, look, man, you're out there wandering around my fire. I'm sitting here by myself. You want a beer or not, or I'm going to bed.
Yeah, exactly. That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
What a better way to deal with it, though.
Well, better than shitting your
pants. You're gonna eat me while I'm sleeping. Well, he might have puckered a little.
Yeah,
you never know.
Hell yeah.
Scared. Well, I might as well offer it a beer because I'm gonna have one more before I go to bed in case he eats me.
Right?
You don't know. I mean, that's the thing. But I mean, I also agree with Kelly. Is like, I've traveled all over the country. I've been in the, out in Washington State and stuff like that, and there is a lot of nowhere. I mean, a lot of nowhere. You get on one of those country, rural route roads or whatever it is, still paved road and everything else like that. But next turn is 20 miles down the road and there isn't anything. You step off into the woods and turn around with your eyes closed, you're lost. There's upstate New York, it's like that too. I mean, we take kids on 25, 30 mile hiking trips, 3-4 days, and there's nothing.
Exactly.
It'd be so. I mean, it's, like you were saying earlier, that things got a little better sense of smell or sense of hearing, like a bear does or something like that, and it just doesn't want to deal with us. Just step 3 feet off the path, hide in the woods until we all pass by. You'd never even know it was there.
Exactly. Exactly. Jennifer has joined the Discord. Thanks, Jen, for hanging out with us. Yep, there you go. Everybody looking forward to your great takes. Sherry says, I've heard of the Grassman, what is it, the skunk ape? Interdimensional as well. What's up, Taylor from Texas? How are you? Thanks for hanging out with us there, guys, on Facebook and everywhere else and all the places we're streaming. Just kind of winding down a conversation about Bigfoot tonight. And it's back in the news, right? People are out in the forest in the summertime and enjoying nature. And it seems to be that the Bigfoot sightings are coming back. And are they hoaxes? Are they misidentifications? Or are they real? That's the conversation. So Jay, you spent a lot of time in the woods. Ever had a particular instance that had your hair stand up on the back of your neck because you went, oh shit, I'm in Bigfoot territory?
that screaming one that I told you with, having a bunch of kids out and stuff like that, whatever that was, that really got my panties up in a bunch.
Just the one. So nothing beyond that. One's
well, I mean,
most people.
I've seen, I was in South Dakota there in Custer State Park and stuff like that for the migration of the buffalo. And you're watching them all down there on the thing, but there was one up on top of the hill that was making his way back down to the herd, and I turned around, and he was staring me eye to eye. I was sitting on a rock taking pictures of him. And I turned around, and I used to backpack with my dog, and I had my elbow on the dog, and I could feel all the dog's hair stand up, and I turn around and I look, and there's this bison, buffalo, whatever you want to call him. Right there. I mean, he was 3-4 feet, I've seen bears and stuff like that in places that we were building down in PA, You go walking around the corner of a building, there's a great big huge black bear there. They're pretty much as afraid of you as you are them. You just clap your hands and yell and stuff like that, and they run away.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been in a lot of things that scared the crap out of me, but I've also been a climber. I climbed stuff like that, so I put myself in a situation where I was scared. But Bigfoot wise, just that one time with whatever that was screaming out there.
That's enough.
Top of the hill.
That's enough.
Yeah.
So we've done our Bigfoot show for the 6 months in now. Well, we did one in January. We did one now. So don't expect any Bigfoot guys for quite some time, unless there's some really large Bigfoot news, like maybe somebody finds them. Maybe somebody finds a corpse like we're discussing, or maybe like Robert.
Wasn't there a guy like right before the pandemic? They're supposed to be doing a Discovery Channel show or something like that.
Yeah, they're always cooking up something like that. So probably. There's always a new Bigfoot show. Those ones piss me off because it's no more than like the ghost shows, right? Where the Zach Baggins runs in and beats his chest and goes, "Where's all the ghosts at? Come out! I'm talking to you!" Right? They do the same shit for the Bigfoot. They're like, they go out in the forest and they're all like, "Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And they all start running around in crazy directions. It's just like, come on, guys.
Blair Witch.
Yeah, Blair Witch. Show me the damn Bigfoot, people. This is ridiculous. Come on. Like television, right? Like that's again, no accident. I put myself in a little television window here on the stream because that's kind of the joke, part of the joke, right? I have instant credibility once you put me inside of a television. Yeah.
The idiot box, as our grandmas used to call them.
Exactly.
Don't stare at that idiot box too long.
Exactly. Game Vet says we had a Bigfoot in my town on display. It was on the show Shipping Wars. Rumor was it was real, found in a frozen lake. I never actually heard of that one. He says, I wanted to see it in person, never was able to, then saw it on the show just a few years ago. It might be online. Look up Shipping Wars Bigfoot. Yeah, maybe. NS says, I listen to the Micah Hanks Bigfoot podcast sometimes. It's interesting, Mike. Yeah, the other one too, with Bigfoot Terror in the Woods with W.J. Sheehan, who's been on the show as well. On this show. So yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff out there, some good stories. And is that Micah Hanks? He was on Jimmy Church Tonight, right? I think he was on Jimmy Church Tonight. I didn't know who that was. I saw his name and was like, who's that? That's like what people do, like, Michael Strange, who's that? But yeah, I don't know. Is his Bigfoot or his podcast only Bigfoot? Yeah. Anyway, let's wind this down. Let's do the thing. I'm cooking a whole chicken in a Ninja fryer right now and listening. Nice. Those air fryers are amazing, aren't they? I was just bragging about mine to Bailey last night after the show. I was like, wow, you have got to get you one of these air fryers. That shit is amazing. Just slap some stuff in there, hit start, and in 10 minutes you got like crispy, golden, delicious food. It's nuts. So let's see. What else? NS says Supernatural with Ashley Flowers. Season 1 was great too. All right, cool. Some stuff to check out. So let's finish this up. Let's finish this sucker up, Jay. What do you think? If you got to make a guess on what Bigfoot is, what's your best guess? Hearing all the theories tonight.
I think he's probably something along the lines of that skinwalker interdimensional thing, smart enough to know that I just want to stay away from the humans. I got to come here and do whatever it is I got to do. We got to live here because this place is better. Or this is where we have kids or whatever. But they're smart enough to, they don't live in houses. They don't destroy anything. Nobody ever really sees them. I think it's probably got to be, along the lines of the interdimensional or the skinwalker kind of thing.
Yeah.
In order for that to work.
Okay. I'm with you. So notably too, think about people, right? Like our sense of smell is terrible in comparison to like the animal world. Like our vision is kind of crappy compared to like, the top end of the animal world, eagles and things like this. Like our direction sense, we can get, rattled and turned around easily. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things going for us in a bad way without our technology, right? Without GPS, compasses, tools, and things like this. So it's again, I'm gonna check this one down as plausible only because there's so many eyewitness accounts of this. There's so many stories that go back dozens, hundreds, thousands of years, possibly with the native stories. And, maybe this is a misclassification thing. Maybe this is a portal thing. Maybe this is an interdimensional thing. I don't know. But there's still a lot of reasons why this could be something real. And there's academics out there that don't believe in hardly anything. And they're like, yeah, by the way, Bigfoot might be real. I think it's one of those ones where, as Matt said, everything is so vast and unsettled still in parts of the, Pacific Northwest that you got to consider it. I think you got to consider it as plausible. I don't know if I'd say real, but I'm going to go with plausible plus. Bigfoot's probably real, and what it is though, I think the jury is still out on that one. But
it's got to be. Well, we don't know. It comes into the thing that we just don't know.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Until somebody hits one with a car or something like that and ties him to the hood and then finds out he's alive, and then you got the Harry and the Hendersons Disney movie from back in the 80s.
Or a really pissed off Bigfoot that's going to take you apart. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they're nice. If you got something that's that big, let's all, say a little prayer before we go to bed that these things are cool and they really don't want nothing to do with us, because you got something that big that wants to be mad at you, chances are it's going to win.
Gotcha.
You're not going to outrun it.
Yeah, no, hell no. Oh, I see. It was so NS says it was Wild Thing podcast. She's a relative of one of the most famous Bigfoot advocates. She was a professor somewhere. Jay Winch says, "Can we chat about something other than Bigfoot?" You can chat about whatever you want, my friend. As you know, I call this the Great Conversation, and we talk about all the things. So we'll even get to some politics at some point, and you'll hate it, but we do dabble on that as well. So yeah, we talk about all the things. You're allowed to chat whatever you want, and come join the Discord. I think you did just jump in the Discord if you haven't yet. Magdalena says, best comment of the night goes to Lazy Guy X. All right, what comment was that? Which was the comment? All right, let's finish. Let's do it, Jay. You got an outro for us? I will call. You going to call? Wait, is Jay Winch going to call? If Jay Winch is going to call, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. If you're going to call Jay Winch, 702-957-1037. Give us a call.
Awesome.
We'll put you on. We got time for you. It is Thursday after all, almost Friday. Maybe some parts of the world it is Friday. So let's do it. Give us a call, and we'll put you on the show. 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, and we'll do it. We're just kicking it with Jay, waiting for the outro here. The J-tro, as we call it. And you'll see what that means if you're new. But, yeah, let's do it. Get on here. Okay, cool. Call. Give you a sec. No problem. 702-957-1037. So as you guys know, this show goes Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. And I want to note, too, all of you out there are invited to be on the show. So we're gonna have a paranormal show with James from Salcedo Paranormal, that podcast. If any of you want to do a show about anything in particular, let me know. Drop it in the chat, and you can be part of it. You can be part of the show for a segment or two or three or the whole show if you want. You guys are definitely welcome, and you don't have to be a radio pro. You don't have to have a YouTube channel. You don't have to be any of that. You just have to be you. You have to be interested and not trolling me. That's it. That's it. Do your best, and if you falter, and some people get nervous when you put them on a stream or on the air, as it's called, and they lose train of thought or whatever. But it's okay. You got me. I can talk forever. So if you falter a little bit, I'll pick you up. So don't worry about any of that stuff. But I do like to mention from time to time that you guys are invited to be on the show, and I'm always taking ideas for topics. And the only thing is, I just kind of want to try and look at them in interesting ways, right? Like we could talk about, like we can circle back and do a bunch of the stuff from the old days. We could probably do the Marines on Mars with Randy Kramer. We could probably do Black-Eyed Kids. Like there's a bunch of stuff that we haven't done in a long ass time. So maybe we can kind of circle back and see if any of that stuff is still relevant. Maybe Slender Man, stuff like this, right? And talk about that. But it's basically all on deck for this, for the conversation, the great conversation, as it's called, as I'm calling it. We're bringing back the great conversation from the 50s. But let's go to this phone call. Let's do this, and let's do it. We're talking to. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
I'll give you Jay Wynn.
Jay Winch.
My hashtag on this thing. I'm calling from Texas.
Right on, Jay Winch from Texas.
I got to close.
Welcome to the show.
I got to close out the app so I don't get feedback.
Okay.
Give me a second, please.
No problem. You got it. No problem.
Hold on. I'm working on closing it out.
No problem.
I'm sorry. I got a bunch of things running right now.
That's okay. I understand. I have like 15
so what I want to talk
open.
about? You said we can talk about anything. Yes.
Yeah, whatever you want, man. Jay Winch from D Live. Welcome to the show. How are you?
All right. So. There's a lot of people that listen to the same thing as we do. I want you to do me a favor. Punch your finger straight. And right in front of your finger is the sun. If the sun, we were following it like they taught us in elementary school, we wouldn't be able to see all the planets ever. Make sense?
Yes, makes sense. It would be hiding, right? It would be hiding. It would hide everything behind it. Yeah. Makes sense.
And NASA just released a comet that's supposed to hit the Earth or be close to super Earth and bigger than some of the planets in our solar system in 2031. I'm pretty sure you can look it up really quick. NASA 2031 asteroid coming towards Earth, but it's the same elliptical pattern as Planet X.
Okay, yeah, I've heard this, and Planet X is interesting too. Yeah, Planet X is an interesting thing because it's there seems to be some evidence out there for it, but we have not located or pinpointed this thing yet. So what are you suggesting? Is it coming?
So
is it on the way?
Okay, you're pretty quick with the internet. I know who you are. I've followed your show for quite some time before I've ever watched your show. Look up Moon Wobble 2030.
Yeah, I'm aware. I already know what this is.
Flooding.
Yep.
You've seen of it, right?
Yep.
Now link that Moon Wobble 2030 with the biggest asteroid ever detected that'll be closest to Earth in 2031.
You're correct. Both of those things are true.
Now point to the wall in front of yourself, and everybody listening right now, point to the wall in front of yourself. Take that entire wall. The sun is moving towards that wall. Your finger is like 1/20th the size of that wall. If that's traveling forward towards the wall and you're spinning that way, and something's coming from what is it called? Oort cloud, if I'm correct.
Yep, Oort cloud. OORT. Yep.
Yeah, Oort cloud.
Yep, that's correct. So yeah,
does it make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. So what our friend here is describing? Let's see. Jay Winch from Texas is that they've discovered something coming from the Oort cloud that is the largest comet ever found. All right, the largest ever seen, ever quantified, cataloged, etc. And it's on the way. It's supposed to reach us. Is it? I thought it was 2032.
2031.
Like 2031. All right.
It'll be
and it's going to come as close as Jupiter, they say. It's going to be, or Saturn. Is it Saturn? So anyway, so we've talked about this on the news show.
If you look further, it actually gets within side of the asteroid belt, and it shoots back out.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Well, I mean, there's almost 10 years till we get to that point. But so what are you suggesting here? Do you think it has something to do with Nibiru, this entire thing? or something else? What's the theory here?
I mean, if you look at every ancient knowledge around the world pre-flood, they all talked about a planet that was elliptical outside of where you can see it unless it's right there. Native Americans spoke of it. The Bible spoke of it. They called it wormwood. Every single version of ancient people spoke of that elliptical orbit that you can only see it when it hit here, and it caused massive damage.
Okay, I hope we're wrong here. let's. I'm gonna cross my fingers that it's the opposite of that.
I pray that we're wrong, but if it's true, I mean, but that would make sense to this whole global warming conspiracy, and the Earth shifting off its axis and dealing with a sun that's melting. Like, we'll change the subject. The whole global warming thing in America. Oh, global warming, this, that, and the other, right? Okay, explain why the moons Saturn and Jupiter are melting. It's not our fault. Yes, no?
I hope not.
If our global warming is melting the frozen moons on Jupiter and Saturn, I mean, I know you're laughing, but I mean, at the same time, like,
well, meaning we'd have to have like outposts on those places. That's why I hope not. But yeah, no, I'm with you. So I'm skeptical of the climate change narratives.
I will touch back to your alien thing.
Okay.
And the reason I'll touch back to your alien thing, because I fell into your show. My first time I seen it was Aliens.
All right.
And I was like, okay, cool, let me watch it. But here's the thing. What if ancient aliens were just ancient humans? With the technology we had before a biblical, worldwide, Native American, Hindu, Indians, all over the world said a flood came through and wiped everything out. I'm a believer in God. I believe there was wicked people prior to the flood. There was ancient technology. It talked about chimeras. What is a chimera? It's creating something through DNA splicing that shouldn't have been created. Yes, no?
Maybe. I'm going to give you maybe. This is the Maybe Juice show, so maybe.
Okay.
I'm going to give you maybe on all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know what mRNA is?
Yes. Please don't actually go there, just because I don't want to get taken down from the internet.
Okay, I'll leave that alone. It's
Thank
your
you.
show. I'll leave it alone.
Let's not do that.
I know you're on YouTube and stuff, so...
Yeah, so join the Discord and you can talk about it there. That's not censored. So come to Discord if you want to talk about that stuff. And there's people that do talk about it there. So I just don't want to get taken off of YouTube, so I don't talk about that. But I know what you're about to say.
Like I said, I understand you're on YouTube, so I'll leave certain things alone because I know how YouTube censors everything.
Thank you.
But like I said, if the links that you found, if you're to post it on YouTube, this, that, and the other, YouTube won't delete it because it comes straight from NASA. The biggest comet ever seen, the same elliptical pattern as
Planet X. Planet X. Yep, Nibiru. Yep.
It's coming from the backside of the sun. Yeah.
All right.
It's coming from the backside of the sun.
All right. Jay, I appreciate it. I'm going to look into this, okay? I'm going to look into this and see if I can bring a entertaining correlation to talk about this for a show, okay? So I will look into this. I'm familiar with the stories you're talking about, the moon wobble, the flooding, and this giant comet coming from the Oort cloud. So I'll see if I can make a connection here and maybe talk about this in the future. How about that? Do me a favor, please.
Okay, hey, do me a favor?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm about to get back on D Live.
Okay.
Link your Discord.
Sure.
Or I will go on Discord myself because Discord, for some reason, I can't grab your link. I will link my Discord, and you just follow me as a friend, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I got you. I'm putting the Discord link in. Jay already dropped it in the chat. So head on back there, and I'll drop it in, and we'll catch up with you there. Okay. I appreciate the call, Jay from Texas. Good stuff. And first-time caller, long-time listener. Appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a great night. There you go. I'm dropping the Discord in the chat, and there you go. If you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, get your ass in there. Lots of smart people sharing lots of smart things. So good stuff. Great call there. I love the first-time callers. I love the not first-time callers also, but it's always good when the reach expands and people, it's about feeling comfortable, right? Like, you got to know I have a track record of, like, I'm not trying to shit on you and make you look stupid here. It's not what this is about. But, I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to let you say your piece, and even if we're off track a little bit, it's okay. Any thoughts on that, Jay? I know you were listening to him there. You could probably heard him perfectly because I think my audio setup is purring like a kitten.
It is.
Nice.
It definitely is.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. I just want to say thanks to Ash for teaching me how to say Nibiru. And because I've had I don't know, it was a hard thing for me to say, but yeah, that's a really interesting one for me because I'll go back to the same thing I say all the time when we start talking about it. It was in a Scooby-Doo episode that my kids were watching, and one day we're sitting there having the peanut butter sandwiches at lunch, and the 5-year-old and the 6-year-old were talking about Nibiru.
Nibiru.
I still have to think about a way that Ash told me to say it. I still can't say it right. It was that Southern learning how to talk kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. None of us are perfect. It's all good, brother.
I know it's interesting. I mean, because that's talked about across the board. It's everywhere. The flood and all of that. It's all there. I really think that history is something that we don't pay much attention to. Everybody hates it when they're in school. The people that like it are geeks or dorks or whatever. But it's something that I really think we should learn. I mean, put a little bit more effort into it. Because I think we know all of these things already. We just don't accept the fact that we know them, or we don't want to know them. That's one of the problems. That's what makes this awesome, because people talk about things and then they stem ideas and stuff like that. People call in and then, get a little bit of a segue or something like that here or there, but it gets everybody's, black goo flowing a little bit faster.
Exactly.
In between the ears.
Exactly. Got a great link here from Gregory. I want to share this real quick before we finish up. He's got one from Exemplar. Thank you, Gregory. Appreciate it. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, John. I see you guys there in Facebook chat. It's brutal sometimes. Facebook has dwindled our reach to really embarrassing levels, considering there's over 40,000 likes and follows on that page. But here's one from Exemplar. And just real quick, as we finish this up, we were talking about Bigfoot tonight. And this is a giant short-faced bear sightings. Is Arctodus simus still alive? And this could be actually one of those things, right? With here we go. So just real quick, according to modern science, this massive beast vanished from North America around 11,000 years ago. However, some believe it could still exist today in the far northern reaches of the continent. These claims are backed by historical accounts of huge, strange bears and occasional evidence in the form of pelts and other specimens. So there you go. There's a possible explanation for the whole Bigfoot phenomena, and good stuff. Good stuff as always, guys. Thank you so much for all the thoughtful chat. Thanks for being cool to each other. Thanks for spending your time with us. Like I always say, you could be watching Netflix or doing 10 million other things right now, and you guys are hanging out with us here. And as I always say, I'm always honored by the time you spend with us, and I'm going to say thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for all the great chat and listening and, all that. Thank you. This is the part where I sound like a politician. And, not going to kiss any babies because then, I'll...
Maybe you should be the senator that we buy.
No, hell no. We're not going to do that.
It'll be cheaper.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Think about it. It would be a lot cheaper.
I
like that Mexican idea that was going on that one time. Let's buy a Mexican senator.
Well, then you got to run for office, and that's expensive. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's finish this up. You got an outro for us, right, Jay?
I do.
Let's do it, buddy. Let's do it. I'm gonna give you some outro music here, and let's do it. Let's play this, and I'll turn it down. All right, you're up, buddy. Let it rip.
As a child, I felt myself to be alone, and I am still. because I know things and must hint at things which others apparently know nothing of. And for the most part, I do not want to know. Loneliness does not come from not having people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. That's Carl G. Jung. He was some philosopher that died. No, he was a psychologist that died in like the 30s.
Carl Jung. Yep. Famous guy. We'll actually get to him at some point as well. All right, so we're done. Good stuff. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate the J-Tro. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this, and thanks for coming prepared with your homework, man. Homework, A+. A+, Jay.
Thanks, Mike. Did you get to the post office?
I did not. I will, though. I'll go tomorrow. Promise.
Oh, no, it's cool. It's just in the back of my mind. It's one of those things is, damn it, I want to know what that is.
We'll get it. We'll get to it. Jay Winch, thanks for calling. He says, sorry for drinking and trying to call in. Bro, I'm drinking and doing a talk show. You're totally good. It's all good. It's all good. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great week. Tomorrow, Troubled Minds News at 3 p.m. on Twitch. Otherwise, if I don't catch you then, which I should, if you got time, I'll see you then. If not, have a great weekend. Relax. Take care of yourself. Because if you don't, you can't take care of other people. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.
Woo, Mike, you forgot the woo.
There it is.
Happy birthday, Bunny.
Happy birthday to Penny on Saturday. Happy birthday to Penny on Saturday. Check out her stream. She's going to be streaming on Saturday night, birthday stream. So go say hi to Penny Bunny. Follow Penny Bunny or Curious Bunny on YouTube. I'll link it in our Discord so you guys can check it out. Right, we're out of here. Let's do it. Have a great weekend, guys. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for Troubled Minds News on Twitch at 3 p.m. See you then.